Kill them all. This. The middle-aged man's eyes widened and he was stunned. 7 spiritual god realm Masha clansmen, with the highest being at the 4th level of the spiritual god realm, were killed by Lu Ming in an instant. The middle-aged man suspected that he was dreaming. Moreover, Lu Ming looked so young. His combat strength was simply unimaginable. Big brother, it's settled. Lu Ming smiled and kept the 9 dragons bloodline. He split a part of his attention to begin refining. Small. You're amazing. You're really amazing. I'm impressed. The middle-aged man stuttered and sighed. Lu Ming smiled and did not say much. I'm Du Shan. What's your name, little brother? The middle-aged man said. Lu Ming. Lu Ming answered. Brother Lu, I have something important to do. I can't accompany you anymore. Little brother, you have to be careful. After Du Shan finished speaking, he was about to fly in a direction. Big brother Du, what do you want? Maybe Lu Ming can be of help. Lu Ming stopped Du Shan. It was not easy for them to meet another human warrior. Lu Ming was just about to ask him about Xian Yanqing. How could he let Du Shan leave so easily? Ah, the human clan's gathering place I'm at is being attacked by the devil clan. I received the news and wanted to rush back to help, but I didn't expect to be blocked by the devil clan here. Du Shan sighed and was slightly anxious. A gathering place of the human race? I'll go with you. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. All right, with little brother's help, we might be saved. Du Shan's eyes also lit up. Lu Ming's combat strength was unfathomable and extremely powerful. He had the intention to ask Lu Ming for help, but Lu Ming had just saved his life and asked him to take the risk with him. He was too embarrassed to ask. Now that Lu Ming had taken the initiative to ask, he was naturally overjoyed. At that moment, Du Shan led the way while Lu Ming followed Du Shan. They flew at top speed towards the north. After flying for hundreds of thousands of miles, he heard heaven-suppressing battle cries. In the distance, a fortress made of a strange metal could be seen. Around the fortress, an intense battle was taking place. There were over 1,000 of them, surrounding the fortress. Among them, there were many existences with powerful auras. Lu Ming used his spiritual senses to scan and discovered that there were dozens of spiritual god-level Masha clan members. The rest were advanced-stage spiritual embryo Masha clan members. There were only a few people in the fortress, about 20 or so, and all of them were spirit god powerhouses. They were fighting against the devil clan, but they were clearly at a disadvantage. Human, go to hell! With a shrill scream, one of the Mo Sha clansmen had a particularly powerful aura. He held a black and sharp bone spur in each hand, and his body was like a lightning bolt as he charged toward a human expert. The human expert had a cultivation of the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. However, he was unable to put up any resistance against the devil clan. The bone spike pierced through his glabella, and he was killed without even being able to let out a miserable cry. Peak 5th level spiritual god realm. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this person from the demonic Sha clan had a cultivation at the peak of the 5th level of the spiritual god realm. He was the strongest existence in the demonic Sha clan. As for the human martial artists, the strongest was only at the 4th level of the spiritual god realm. Damn it, kill! When Du Shan saw this, he shouted and charged forward with his battle axe. Another one is here to die. The 5th level spiritual god realm fiend clansman's eyes were cold as he swept his gaze at Du Shan. He sneered and his demonic chi rolled. He flapped his pair of spikes and pounced toward Lu Ming like lightning. It seemed to be able to pierce through everything as it stabbed towards Du Shan. Buzz! Buzz! 2 teeth-numbing sounds rang out as the bone spikes of the Mo Sha clan pierced through the battle axe Du Shan had transformed into. An angry roar came from the battle axe. The battle axe trembled and dispersed, turning back into Du Shan's figure. His face was pale as he retreated quickly. Die! The devil clansman's eyes were cold. The bone spur pierced through the air, aiming for Du Shan's forehead. Right at this moment, a palm that was like a blade suddenly appeared and slashed at the bone spike. A terrifying power erupted, and the bone spike was broken into dozens of pieces with a clang. The palm blade cut horizontally and struck the shoulder of the demon Sha. Bang! The devil clansman's shoulder exploded, and he was sent flying like a cannonball, killing a few spirit embryo realm devil clansmen. Roar! The 9 dragons roared, and the devouring power burst forth, enveloping the Masha clansmen. The energy and blood essence of the spirit embryo realm demons were instantly devoured, turning them into dried corpses. The first, second, and third level spiritual god realm demons screamed in horror and turned into mummies under the devouring power. The human warriors were all stunned. As for the remaining Mo Sha clansmen, they roared madly and wanted to escape. However, under the terrifying devouring power, they felt as if they were stuck in a quagmire and could not move at all. Kill! Lu Ming rushed past them and cut down all the Masha clan members as if he was cutting grass. Buzz! The 5th level spiritual god realm Masha clansman was only injured but not dead. He flapped his wings and turned into a demonic light, trying to escape. He knew that a top human expert had come, and that one move had severely injured him. If he didn't escape, he would die. However, he was shocked to find that he could not escape at all. Lu Ming's figure was like a flickering light and a passing shadow. He caught up with the 5th level spiritual god realm Masha clan in an instant and appeared behind him. Let's die together. Torrential rain massacre. Seeing that they couldn't escape, the devil clansman let out an angry roar. His demonic chi soared into the sky, and he spread his wings. His entire body began to spin in the air. Its wings were like 2 sabers that cut through the air, bringing with them a storm of attacks. It was like a terrifying tornado that could destroy everything as it swept towards Lu Ming. 2 streams of dragon power burst forth in Lu Ming's body. He then executed the prison-suppressing heaven technique and struck down with his palm. This palm strike was like a heavenly blade, possessing the power to suppress everything. Boom! The storm of attacks from the Masha clan collapsed instantly. The palm blade landed on the body of the Masha clan, killing him. All his energy and blood essence were devoured by Lu Ming. In the castle, the humans' eyes were wide open, as if they had yet to react. Brother Lu Ming, thank you for saving me again. Otherwise, sigh. Du Shan walked over to thank Lu Ming, his voice full of emotion. If not for Lu Ming, he would have been dead. At this time, the human warriors in the castle finally reacted and flew over to thank him. They were even more shocked when they saw that Lu Ming had such combat abilities at such a young age. I've heard that there are many heaven's favorites in the outside world. The 5 magnates are the most powerful ones among the young generation. But in my opinion, Brother Lu, I'm afraid you're even stronger than the 5 magnates. An old man with white hair sighed. Every year, some people would be exiled here by the royal family. They had stayed in the demon realm for a long time, so they knew some things about the outside world. Chapter 1141 Devil Tablet Mountain. Lu Ming said that he did not dare to and then chatted with everyone for a while. Through their conversation, Lu Ming learned that these people, without exception, had offended the royal family or the powerful figures of the ancient Saint dynasty. There were even experts from the overlord forces among them. They might not know each other in the outside world, but they were very united in the Abyss Demon realm. If they didn't work together in the Abyss Demon territory, they would eventually be defeated by the Fiend clan and buried here. Similarly, the imperial family had set points for them. As long as they could complete it, they would be let out. However, the height of the points made people despair. However, they were all experts of the spiritual god realm and could live for 5,000 years. They were not willing to be locked up in the Abyss Demon territory for the rest of their lives. Therefore, they held on to the hope that they could accumulate enough points and leave this place. Therefore, they would constantly hunt down the Devil Clan, and in turn, the Devil Clan would kill them. That was why the Devil Clan had attacked the city today. In reality, it was common for the Fiend Clan to attack cities. However, the Fiend Clan that had come today was slightly stronger, and there were a lot more of them. Little brother Lu, let's have a chat in the castle. Du Shan invited. No need, but I do have a question that I would like to consult with all the seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, What question? There's no harm in just saying it. As long as I know, I'll definitely tell you. The others chimed in. Dear seniors, have you seen the 16th princess? Lu Ming asked. The 16th princess? Are you talking about the 16th princess who has the bloodline of the royal family? I've not seen her, but I've heard that she's in the demon realm of Tartarus. Shan pondered for a moment and said. Many others also shook their heads. I've met Princess 16 once. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he heard the voice. It was the white-haired old woman. Senior, when was it? Where have you seen it before? Lu Ming asked anxiously. About a few months ago, about a few million miles away from here. I talked to the 16th princess and she said she wanted to go to the Devil Tablet Mountain. The old woman replied. What? The Devil Tablet Mountain. The others all gasped. Lu Ming's heart tightened and he said, The Devil Tablet Mountain? Is it very dangerous? It is indeed dangerous, Brother Lu. The Devil Tablet Mountain is a forbidden area in the Nine Serenities Devil Domain. Many powerful Devil Clan members have entered it, but they all died there. Humans are no exception. There's no exit. Du Shan sighed. There's no exit. Lu Ming started to feel anxious. Why would Xian Yanqing go to such a dangerous place? Seniors, do you have a map to the Devil Tablet Mountain? Lu Ming said. Brother Lu, you want to go to the Devil Tablet Mountain? It's really dangerous there. Although the inside of the Devil Tablet Mountain is extremely dangerous, there are many powerful Mo Sha clan members around the mountain. They cultivate in the outer area of the mountain and hope to get some opportunities. Therefore, the outer area of the mountain is also very dangerous. Little brother, you must be careful. The white-haired old woman persuaded. Thank you, seniors, but Lu Ming must go to the Devil Tablet Mountain. Lu Ming's tone was firm. Now that he knew of Xian Yanqing's whereabouts and that he might even be in danger, he had to go even if it meant going through mountains of daggers and seas of flames. Seeing Lu Ming's firm attitude, Du Shan, the white-haired old OU, and the rest heaved a long sigh and did not try to persuade him any more. In the end, the white-haired old OU took out a map and gave it to Lu Ming. On the way, Lu Ming cast the illusionary breath technique and darkened his aura, making it somewhat similar to the aura of the Masha clan. Indeed, it saved him a lot of trouble along the way. The number of Masha clan members who attacked him was greatly reduced. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. He was hurrying along. A few months ago, Xian Yanqing went to the Devil Tablet Mountain. He should have been there by now. The Devil Tablet Mountain was so dangerous. How was Xian Yanqing doing? At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart was burning with anxiety. He could not wait to rush to Xian Yanqing's side. The Devil's Tablet Mountain was in the depths of the Abyss Demon territory. It was very far from the castle where Du Shan and the rest were. At Lu Ming's speed, it took him 5 days to reach the area where the Devil's Tablet Mountain was. That's... Lu Ming stood high in the sky and looked into the distance. He was a little shocked. This area was filled with mountains. There were all sorts of strange plants growing in the mountain range. However, there was a mountain peak that stood out among the mountains. It could be seen at a glance even from a great distance. It was because the mountain peak was too majestic. It was like a group of cranes standing among the mountains. It was high up in the sky, and no one knew how high it was. The mountain was shrouded in black mist, and it was impossible to see the specific situation of the mountain peak. Is that the Devil Tablet Mountain? Lu Ming pondered in his heart, his eyes filled with shock and doubt. Ever since he got close to this place, he felt that the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel in his body was emitting a hot aura, as if it was about to appear from his spine. What's going on? Why did the Devil Tablet Mountain cause the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline to change? Lu Ming could not understand. Let's go. With a thought, Lu Ming flew toward the huge mountain that was filled with black mist. As they got closer, they could feel the magnificence of the giant mountain even more. The other peaks were also considered majestic and tall, but when compared to this peak, they were far inferior. The change in the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline also became more intense. What? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He felt a strong fluctuation in front of him. It was not just one but several. Each of them contained a powerful demonic might, and there were experts from the Mo Sha clan. Lu Ming restrained his aura to the extreme and flew forward. That human girl has obtained a treasure in the Devil Tablet Mountain. We cannot let that treasure fall into the hands of the human race. Let's attack together and kill her. Let's go together. That human girl has been surrounded and can't escape. She must die today. The treasures of the Devil Tablet Mountain belong to our Devil clan. A few shriveled and unpleasant sounds rang out as a few figures flew past in front of him. They were all from the demonic Xia clan, and their auras were very strong. With a quick glance, Lu Ming discovered that a few of them were at the 6th level of the spiritual god realm. Could the person they're talking about be Little Qing? Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed and he followed the 3 demons from a distance. Boom! Boom! Chi-chi! Not long after, a violent roar came from the front, as well as the sound of sharp weapons piercing through the air. The battle was still ongoing. This made Lu Ming's heart relax a little. In front of them, a few Mo Xia clansmen increased their speed and flew over like lightning. They flew over a few mountains and joined the battle while roaring. Not good. Using the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, Lu Ming's figure crossed the last few hundred miles in an instant and arrived at the battlefield. Chapter 1142 Meeting Yanqing again. Who else could the beautiful lady in front of him be other than Yanqing, whom Lu Ming had been thinking about day and night? It had been more than 3 years since Lu Ming and Yanqing parted ways in 9 Dragons. After not seeing him for 3 years, Yanqing had matured a little, but he had also lost some weight. His face and eyes were very cold. At this moment, Yanqing's body was filled with demonic qi. He gently pressed his palms and a terrifying force field spread out in a radius of 100 miles, destroying everything. At the same time, there was a beautiful woman sitting on top of Yanqing's head. She was surrounded by demonic power and demonic qi. She sat cross-legged on a black lotus and kept striking out with her palms to block the attacks from all directions. This was Yanqing's bloodline, the 3rd bloodline. It was very similar to his 2nd bloodline, but there were 9 golden chakra rings around his body. Divine level 9th rank bloodline. Moreover, Yanqing's cultivation had also entered the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. There were 11 people attacking Yanqing. The 11 fiend clan members were all at the 6th level of the spiritual god realm. Each of them held a bone spike in their hands and attacked Yanqing fiercely. Yanqing's fearsome force field covered an area of 100 miles. The speed of the fiends was greatly affected. Even though Yanqing focused on defense, he was still at a disadvantage. If this continued, defeat was imminent. Little girl, hand over the demonic statue and I can leave your corpse intact. Otherwise you will end up in a miserable state. This human girl is really a national beauty. Even I'm tempted by her. After I capture her, I'll let her have a taste of my power. A series of unpleasant and ear-piercing sounds rang out. You're looking for death. At that moment, the killing intent in Lu Ming's heart exploded. In his body, the 8 dragon powers suddenly burst out, filling his body with an extremely powerful strength. Lu Ming took a step forward and charged into Yanqing's force field like a black spear. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch at one of the demons. This devil clansman had never thought that someone would attack him at this time. He reacted and wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Bang! Lu Ming's punch landed directly on the back of the Xia clansman. A terrifying force exploded, piercing a large hole in the Xia clansman's body and killing him in one blow. When Yanqing heard the commotion, he thought that more reinforcements from the Fiend clan had arrived, so he instinctively looked in their direction. When she saw Lu Ming's figure, her delicate body trembled and her eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, her gaze was completely focused on Lu Ming. She could not move her eyes away. Buzz! A sharp sound was heard as it approached Yanqing. Be careful! Lu Ming was shocked and furious. He rushed towards Yanqing at top speed. At this moment, one of the demons seized the opportunity to attack Yanqing. After Lu Ming's shout, Yanqing finally reacted. He activated his force field and retreated quickly. However, he was still a step too late. His shoulder was pierced by the sharp bone spur of the Fiend clan. A small wound appeared and blood flowed out. You're looking for death. Lu Ming let out a long howl as his 3rd bloodline emerged. A trace of energy surged into Lu Ming's body, causing his hair and eyes to turn blood red. Kill! His 3rd bloodline turned into a combat sword. Lu Ming held the blood-colored combat sword in his hand and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to appear in front of the sneak-attacking Fiend clan member. He slashed out with his sword, and a sword light burst forth, directly splitting the 6th-level spiritual god realm expert into two. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing did not care about his injuries. His eyes were still fixed on Lu Ming. He did not want to look away. She was afraid. She was afraid that all of this was just an illusion, a dream. Once she looked away, everything in front of her would disappear. She had already lost count of how many times she had had such a dream. Little Qing, I'm here. Lu Ming reached out and held Xian Yanqing's small hand. Xian Yanqing's hand was cold. The heat from Lu Ming's palm was transmitted to Xian Yanqing's small hand. Xian Yanqing's body trembled, and tears welled up in his big eyes. Lu Ming, really? Is it really you? I'm not dreaming? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming in a daze. His little hand clutched Lu Ming's big hand tightly, as if he was afraid that Lu Ming would disappear if he let go. Idiot! It's really me. Let's kill these fiend clan members first. Lu Ming said gently, then scanned his surroundings. Lu Ming's sudden appearance and his lightning-fast killing of two of the Masha clan's experts shocked the other Masha clan members. They retreated far away and did not attack for a while. He's also a human at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. Just now, he launched a surprise attack and killed the two of us. There's nothing to be afraid of. If we join forces, it's enough to kill them. One of the Mo Sha clansmen said, his eyes cold. That's right, let's attack together and kill. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The remaining 9 demons attacked at the same time. The bone spikes in their palms pierced through the air and shot toward Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Sky Devil Force Field. Xian Yanqing finally collected his thoughts. With a shout, he pressed his palm and a terrifying force field exploded. After 3 years, Xian Yanqing had awakened his 3rd bloodline and his cultivation had reached the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. Her force field seemed to have made a breakthrough and become even more terrifying. The demonic energy field enveloped the area. At the same time, there was a terrifying destructive power in the energy field, which greatly reduced the speed of the Masha clan. However, Lu Ming was not affected at all. This intent. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He realized that Xian Yanqing's intent realm was more powerful than before. It was a terrifying demonic intent realm. Without much time to think, Lu Ming stepped forward. His killing intent was like a tide as he charged towards the Masha clan. He realized that the 8th dragon power was indeed powerful. Now that all 8 dragon powers were unleashed, his combat power was even stronger than before. Buzz! Lu Ming appeared in front of one of the Masha clansmen. His cold killing intent enveloped him, causing the Masha clansman to shudder. Whoosh! The blood-red sword light slashed toward the fiend clansman. The terrifying power shocked the fiend clansman, and he hurriedly blocked it with his bone spur. The bone spur was broken with a clang. With a flash of sword light, the arm of the demon Shah was cut off. The Masha clansman was horrified. He wanted to escape, but Lu Ming's 2nd sword attack was launched. Puchi! Blood spurted out and a head flew high into the air. A 6th-level spiritual god realm demonic Sha clan member was killed in an instant. If Lu Ming were to deal with a 6th-level spiritual god realm demonic Sha clan alone, it would not be so easy to kill him without a sneak attack. It would most likely take some effort. However, with Xian Yanqing's help, killing a 6th-level spiritual god realm Mo Sha was a piece of cake. Buzz! After killing the one from the Masha clan, Lu Ming went on to kill another. At this moment, the two of them seemed to have returned to the past, back to the time when they were adventuring together in the East Continent. At that time, the two of them had also cooperated like this. The cooperation between the two of them was already very tacit. Chapter 1143 You finally came. Lotus Sword Kill. Dang! Xian Yanqing shouted. Black lotus flowers appeared around her. The petals formed a black lotus sword in the sky and attacked the fiend clan. Each of the lotus swords was terrifyingly powerful. With intent lingering around them, they cut through the sky and directly cut open a hideous hole in the space. The fiend clan members could only divert their attention to block the lotus swords, and their combat strength was once again affected. Puchi! Lu Ming rushed over and killed another Masha clan member in less than 2 moves. Not good. The cooperation between these two is too terrifying. Some of the Mo Sha clansmen cried out in fear. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's cooperation was terrifyingly powerful. It was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Their combat strength had increased by several times. The Devil clan retreated. What are you afraid of? Let's attack together. At this moment, an ear-piercing sound was heard. Not far away, a terrifying sharp light flew over, emitting a powerful aura. 7th level spiritual god realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This was a 7th level spiritual god realm demon. When they discovered that a 7th level spiritual god realm fiend had appeared, the other fiend clan's confidence increased greatly. The 7th level of the spiritual god realm was much more powerful than the 6th level. Kill! Kill! The Ma Sha clan tried their best to break through the force field and charged toward Lu Ming. Whoosh! The 7th level spiritual god realm fiend immediately charged at Xian Yanqing. He could already tell that Xian Yanqing had too much influence in the group battle. It would be much easier to deal with Lu Ming after dealing with Xian Yanqing. The 7th level spiritual god realm Ma Sha clansmen charged into the heavenly demonic force field, emitting a demonic shriek as they collided with the force field, bringing with them a series of flames. However, he still broke through the force field and charged towards Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing waved his hands and the black lotus sword flew towards his opponent, but it was also deflected by his opponent's bone spurs. Kill! At this moment, Lu Ming's figure moved and appeared in front of the 7th level spiritual god realm Ma Sha clansman. He slashed out with his blood-red combat sword and collided with the other party's bone spur. With a ding, Lu Ming and the other party retreated at the same time. The Ma Sha clansman was taken aback. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. He was only at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm, but he could actually force him to retreat. Roar! The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming combined his bloodline and transformed into 9 dragons. The 9 dragons roared and their devouring power burst forth. Together with Xian Yanqing's force field, they enveloped the Ma Sha. At the same time, he used the 9 dragons step and charged toward the Devil clan. On the other side, Xian Yanqing also used bloodline fusion and turned into a magnificent otherworldly demon. His demonic power was vast, and his force field was even stronger. He pressed down with his jade-like hand, and a black jade-like palm print pressed toward the fiend. Boom! Boom! Facing the joint attack of the two, the 7th level spiritual god realm Ma Sha clan was forced to retreat and spit out large mouthfuls of blood. Prison guard kill! With the 9 dragon steps, every inch of his body was able to unleash the strangle hell heaven technique. The dragon claws swiped down and the dragon tail swept down. It was extremely terrifying. Moreover, Lu Ming had once comprehended a true dragon combat technique from the Myriad elephant jade wall of the Tianxia Academy. When they worked together, they were even more powerful. Bang! Blood kept spurting out of the mouth of the devil clansman. His last wing was torn off by the 9 dragons' claws. Then the sky demon that Xian Yanqing had turned into slammed his palm on the chest of the fiend, almost splitting him into pieces. Although he didn't die, he was half dead. No! Run! The devil clansman roared and wanted to escape. At this moment, he was extremely frightened. He had never expected that 2 ants at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm would be so powerful. The 2 of them had joined forces and actually beat him, a 7th level spiritual god realm existence, to the point where he had no power to fight back. However, it was too late for him to escape now. Bang! The 9 dragons' dragon claws swiped down and smashed into the head of the devil clansman, piercing through his head. A 7th level spiritual god realm martial artist died. Run! The hearts of the remaining Mo Sha clansmen almost stopped beating. This was too terrifying. An expert in the 7th level of the spiritual god realm had died just like that. It had only been a few moves. All of you stay! The 9 dragons roared, and the devouring power spread rapidly, engulfing the rest of the devil clan. At the same time, Xian Yanqing's demonic force field expanded and enveloped all the demons. Roar! With the 9 dragon steps, he instantly appeared in front of one of the Ma Sha clansmen. With a swipe of his claws, he killed the man. The sky demon that Xian Yanqing had transformed into also stepped forward and slapped down with her jade-like palm. One of the fiend clan members was torn apart. With the two of them working together, killing a 6th-level spiritual god realm demonic Sha was as easy as chopping vegetables. No matter how much the fiend demons roared, it was useless. They were all killed. In less than a minute, the remaining demons were all killed, and their blood essence and energy were all devoured by the 9 dragons. At that moment, the 9 dragons shrunk rapidly and turned back into Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing also kept his blood meridian. The two of them stood in the air and looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with longing for each other. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing exclaimed. After the battle, Xian Yanqing was finally sure that everything was real and not a dream. Lu Ming had really come to the Abyss Demon territory and she had really seen him. At the same time, the two of them walked toward each other. They were very close to each other, and they stared at each other. Xian Yanqing couldn't hold back the tears in his eyes anymore. They flowed down his cheeks. Little Qing! Lu Ming reached out and wiped away the tears on Xian Yanqing's face. Lu Ming, you're finally here. Xian Yanqing pounced into Lu Ming's arms. Lu Ming hugged Xian Yanqing tightly as if he wanted to pull Xian Yanqing into his body and never separate. Little Qing, let's leave this place first. Lu Ming said. A great battle had just taken place here, so who knew when the Devil Clan would come again? N. Xian Yanqing nodded. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand and randomly chose a direction to fly in. After traveling more than 100,000 miles, Lu Ming found a hidden place and the two of them entered the mountain and river diagram. An estate world treasure? Xian Yanqing blinked his eyes. Okay, little Qing, you should heal first. Lu Ming asked in concern. Xian Yanqing's shoulder had been stabbed just now and it was not a light injury. Xian Yanqing nodded, sat down cross-legged and began to heal. Half a day later, Xian Yanqing's injuries were completely healed. On a mountain peak in the mountain and river diagram, the two of them sat side by side. Xian Yanqing's head was on Lu Ming's shoulder as they chatted about their experiences during this period of time. The two of them had not seen each other for more than 3 years and had too many things to say. Lu Ming told him about his experiences over the past few years. Xian Yanqing's heart was in turmoil. Every time he heard that Lu Ming was in danger, Xian Yanqing would exclaim softly and worry for Lu Ming. At this moment, Xian Yanqing had completely turned into a little woman. She leaned on Lu Ming's shoulder and hugged his arm. She would not talk back to Lu Ming, but she would also shout and want to step on him. She just wanted to listen to Lu Ming quietly. That was enough. Reunion after a long separation. When Lu Ming told him about how he came to the Holy City, participated in the competition of the younger generation, and how he entered the Abyss Demon territory, Xian Yanqing's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Lu Ming, you've been deceived by them. Like me, it's very difficult to get 10,000 points. Then he looked at Lu Ming affectionately and said, Lu Ming, why are you so silly? It's all because of me that you're in this place. You fool, if I didn't come here to find you myself, I wouldn't be at ease. By the way, did you come here after you came back from 9 dragons? Lu Ming asked. N. Xian Yanqing nodded and said, when I first came back, Xie Qiqian sent someone to send me to the Abyss Demon territory. Unfortunately, although they knew that my bloodline was inclined to darkness, they didn't know that my bloodline was the heavenly demon bloodline. In the Abyss Demon territory, I was like a fish in water. My cultivation speed was faster than the outside world. Moreover, I've awakened the 3rd bloodline. Using the demon chi and demon stones, my cultivation speed was even faster. At this point, Xian Yanqing's voice turned cold. He seemed to be filled with hatred for the Xie family. Lu Ming tightened his grip on Xian Yanqing's arm. One could imagine that Xian Yanqing had been struggling and cultivating alone in the Abyss Demon territory for the past few years. He had been walking on the edge of life and death. Otherwise, he would not have such a high cultivation level. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart ached. Lu Ming, I'm so happy that you're here. Xian Yanqing's voice whispered in Lu Ming's ear. Lu Ming's head turned slightly. He looked at the beautiful face that was right in front of him and felt Xian Yanqing's gentle breathing. He could only feel his heart beating rapidly. This unpolished face was peerless and alluring. The faint smile that was brimming on her face seemed to be Lu Ming's everything. The two of them had not seen each other for a long time, so they naturally had a moment of warmth. It's really painful to the eyes. After an unknown period of time, a sudden cry interrupted the two of them. The two of them opened their eyes at the same time and saw Dandan not far away, staring at them with her eyes wide open. Xian Yanqing's face turned red. Even his ears and neck were red. "Continue, you guys, continue, don't worry about me." When he saw the two of them looking at him, Dandan said leisurely, "Get lost." Lu Ming swung his palm, and a palm print condensed from quintessential essence blasted toward Dandan. Dandan was sent flying like a rock by Lu Ming's palm. Arg! Lu Ming, you're a guy who values your lover over your friends. No, I mean you're a guy who values your seniors over your friends. Dandan's voice came from far away. In the end, it turned into a black dot and disappeared in the air. No one knew how far it had flown. After Dandan's ruckus, the two's boiling blood also calmed down. "You lecherous." Xian Yanqing tidied up his messy clothes and said with a red face. Lu Ming chuckled and held Xian Yanqing's hand. "Little Qing, why did those Mo Sha race attack you earlier?" "Because of a golem," Xian Yanqing said. Then, a demon statue appeared in her hand. The demonic statue was very small, only the size of a fist, but it exuded a terrifying demonic will. This demonic will was arrogant and overbearing, as if it wanted to destroy the heavens and dominate the world. What a strong demonic intent! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It was only a golem and it was already so terrifying. This golem was definitely a valuable treasure to cultivators of the demonic path or to the Fiend clan. No wonder so many powerful people from the Fiend clan wanted to surround Xian Yanqing. "I obtained this devil statue from the Devil Tablet Mountain," Xian Yanqing said. Then, he put away the golem and the pressure around him disappeared. "Little Qing, did you really enter the Devil Tablet Mountain? I heard that it's very dangerous there, and everyone who entered died." Although he knew that Xian Yanqing was fine, Lu Ming could not help but worry. "I've heard that the Devil Tablet Mountain is indeed very dangerous. In the past, many Devil Clan and human warriors had died. However, I don't know why, but when I get close to this place, I feel a strong throbbing in my heart, as if I'm being summoned by something. There seems to be something on the Devil Tablet Mountain that is attracting me. That's why I took the risk and entered the Devil Tablet Mountain. But the strange thing is that I didn't encounter any danger when I entered the Devil Tablet Mountain. Instead, I obtained an opportunity and had a breakthrough in my cultivation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have my current cultivation and I would still be able to bring out this devil statue," Xian Yanqing said. "You also have this feeling? What is it that is attracting you?" Lu Ming was shocked. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming in surprise. "Don't tell me you have one too." "That's right. Ever since I got close to the Devil Tablet Mountain, my second bloodline has been burning and restless. It's as if something is attracting it. If I didn't control it, it would have appeared on its own." Lu Ming frowned slightly. He felt that this was very unbelievable. "Little Qing, what's in the Devil Tablet Mountain?" "I don't know. I was just walking around the outer area and didn't go in. The Devil Tablet Mountain was covered in fog and I couldn't see clearly. I was planning to study this devil statue before entering the Devil Tablet Mountain," Xian Yanqing said. Then, the two of them discussed for a while more, but they still couldn't come to a conclusion. In the end, they decided to go and explore the Devil Tablet Mountain. This was because there was no danger when Xian Yanqing entered. The two of them chatted for a while more before walking out of the mountain and river diagram and looking at the Devil Tablet Mountain in the distance. Even though they were very far apart, Lu Ming's prison-suppressing steel bloodline still throbbed. As for Xian Yanqing, the bloodline at her spine was also emitting a faint blood-red light. Chapter 1145 Entering the Devil Tablet Mountain. The two of them concealed their auras and moved closer to the Devil Tablet Mountain. Along the way, they sensed the aura of the Mo Sha clan, and the two of them went around them. The two of them were getting closer and closer to the Devil Tablet Mountain. The closer they got, the more the prison-suppressing steel bloodline in Lu Ming's body throbbed and felt hot. Soon, the two of them were 100 miles away from the Devil Tablet Mountain. There was already a faint black mist permeating the air. The two of them didn't back off and continued to move forward. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed 100 miles and entered the Devil Tablet Mountains territory. Mo. Suddenly, a loud roar rang in Lu Ming's mind. This voice was filled with a lawless feeling, but it also revealed a sense of helplessness and unwillingness. Black mist filled the air. With their cultivation, they could only see within 20 meters. Moreover, there was a terrifying pressure on the two of them, making it difficult for them to fly. They could only land on the ground and walk forward. Little Qing, be careful. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand and walked forward carefully. Buzz! Lu Ming's spine was suffused with a blood-red light. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was beating continuously, and it was getting stronger. Lu Ming controlled the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline and did not let it manifest. The two of them walked for half a day and felt that they were already halfway up the mountain. They were getting closer and closer to the peak. That throbbing feeling came from the top of the mountain. Xian Yanqing's presence here also had a strong attraction to it, and it made her bloodline throb. So many bones. All of a sudden, Lu Ming noticed that there were skeletons on the ground. The skeleton wasn't big, and it was obvious that it was from the Devil Clan. It was rumored that many of the Devil Clan had died here. It seemed to be true. Furthermore, these skeletons all had storage rings on their fingers. Xian Yanqing grabbed a storage ring in the air. The next moment, he took out a pile of black stones from the storage ring. The stones emitted a strong demonic qi. This is a demonic stone. It's very useful for those who cultivate the demonic path. To me, it's even more useful than a raw stone. Xian Yanqing explained. There are many storage rings here. They might contain magic stones. Take them. They will be of great use to you when we leave this place in the future. Lu Ming said. He reached out and drew in the storage rings one by one, handing them to Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing cultivated the demonic Dao, so these demonic stones were most suitable for him. Xian Yanqing took them and kept them one by one. Then, the two of them searched around and found many bones of the Mo Sha clan. Of course, there were also the bones of humans, but they were very few. Devil! 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 At this point, the sound became louder and louder. This sound was directly transmitted to the mind and not through the ears. It was as if there was a peerless demon emperor shouting and roaring from above. The two of them continued to move forward. Along the way, they collected the storage rings of every Devil Clan skeleton they came across. Along the way, they collected no less than 100 storage rings and a large number of demonic stones. Just these storage rings alone were a huge profit. After another half a day, the two of them finally reached the top of the mountain. The two of them did not encounter any danger along the way. This made the two of them secretly amazed. The Devil Tablet Mountain was very dangerous and anyone who entered would die. This sentence could be verified by the bones of the Devil Clan and Human Clan along the way. However, the two of them had been very calm along the way. Chapter 1148 Charge Out. Then with a thought, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline appeared again. If I perform the bloodline fusion now and turn into the prison-suppressing steel, I'm afraid the power will be amazing. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could feel waves of vast energy coming from the prison-suppressing steel's blood meridian. The level of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline did not increase. It was still at divine level 7. However, Lu Ming could feel that its power was very shocking. If he used the bloodline fusion, it would not be weaker than a divine level 9th bloodline. It might even be stronger. My cultivation is still too weak, so I can't fully exert the power of the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. As my cultivation improves, I'll be able to exert more power. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind and he smiled. This way, the fusion of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline would become his most powerful trump card. I wonder if I'll be stronger if I use the prison-suppressing heavenly art. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. One could still see Xia Luan's figure at the bottom of the prison-suppressing steel, faintly discernible. Lu Ming's mind sank into the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. He adjusted the suppression power of the prison-suppressing steel bloodline on purpose, adjusting the suppression on Xia Luan. Buzz! The prison-suppressing steel shook, and Xiaoluan stepped out of it and appeared in the air. Boom! A vast demonic might burst out and broke through the clouds. Ha ha ha, I'm finally out! Xiaoluan laughed heartily. His long hair was loose, and his brows were sharp and his eyes handsome. One could tell that he had been a peerless beauty in his youth, but now, he seemed to have gone mad. Lu Ming could understand. A person who had been suppressed for 30,000 years would be considered lucky if he did not go crazy. After a long while, Xiaoluan finally calmed down. He looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and said, "Let's go, I'll bring you guys out of here." A wave of demonic energy swept up Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Xiaoluan took a step forward and appeared at the periphery of the Devil Tablet Mountain. Many of the Mo Sha clansmen looked at them in shock. "It just so happens that I have some tonics that can help me recover some of my strength." Xiaoluan's cold voice came out of his mouth. The next moment, a terrifying demonic qi exploded from his body, enveloping all the fiend clan members below. "Not good, let's go. Ah, save me!" Within the demonic qi, shrill screams were heard. Lu Ming saw many 5th and 6th level spiritual god realm demons turn into ashes without any resistance, turning into pure energy that was absorbed by Xiaoluan. Xiaoluan's body was like a bottomless abyss, constantly absorbing the energy. The few 7th level spiritual god realm demons were able to resist for a while, but as Xiaoluan took a step forward, they exploded in the air one by one, turning into energy and being absorbed by Xiaoluan. Xiaoluan's skin was wriggling, and his aura was getting stronger. "It's a pity that these Mo Sha are too weak. My immortal demon body can only recover a little. I'm still thousands of miles away from my peak." Xiaoluan sighed. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were secretly shocked. The other party was indeed the demon emperor who had caused chaos in the world. He was truly terrifying. He had been suppressed for 30,000 years and had just come out, but his strength was still shocking. "We can't stay here for long. I'm afraid the royal family and the Xie family will find out soon. Now kill our way out." Xiaoluan's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He wrapped Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing in his demonic power and stepped forward at a terrifying speed, heading for the exit of the Abyss Demon Realm. In just a few moments, they had covered an unknown distance. "Not good, a demonic creature has broken in." Roars rang out from the city, and powerful qis rose up and charged at Xiaoluan. "So many experts." Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Those auras were all powerful, overbearing, and extremely terrifying. Many of them were at the 5th or 6th level of the spiritual god realm, and he could even sense many of them above the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. "All of you shall become my nourishment." Xiaoluan's eyes were cold, and his demonic qi was monstrous. He struck out with his palm, and a group of spiritual god realm experts exploded. They turned into rolling energy and poured into Xiaoluan's body. His aura grew stronger and stronger. Miserable shrieks continued to ring out as experts were killed one after another. "Not good, this person is too strong." The experts were shocked and retreated frantically. "You're looking for death." At this moment, a few terrifying auras rose from the depths of the city. A few figures appeared in front of them in an instant. "So strong. He has surpassed the 8th level of the spiritual god realm." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The people who appeared later were absolutely terrifying. Their auras were strong and above the 8th level of the spiritual god realm. There were two whose auras were vast and unfathomable. 2 9th level spiritual god realm and 2 great circle spiritual god realm. "Hee hee." Xiaoluan sneered and charged forward. Endless demonic qi condensed into a saber and slashed at his opponent. His opponent also exploded with powerful strength, and a terrifying attack poured towards Xiaoluan. The entire city was shaking and emitting a resplendent light. One after another, large formations were activated. If it weren't for these large formations, it would have already been destroyed. "Ah! Ah!" A scream was heard. A 9th level spiritual god realm expert's head was cut off by Xiaoluan. His spiritual god flew out and was swept up by demonic qi. Xiaoluan absorbed it, and his aura grew stronger. The remaining 3 people's expressions changed drastically. They didn't dare to block it, and instead retreated rapidly. Xiaoluan didn't give chase. He led Lu Ming and the other man toward the exit. Where do you think you're going? A majestic voice resounded. In the sky, a huge palm print was formed. It was as big as a mountain, and it was filled with a mysterious aura. That aura was much stronger than the intent realm of heaven and earth. Paragon. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This was the attack of a supreme martial artist. A supreme being was also considered to be in the great circle of the spiritual god stage. However, a supreme being was already half a step into the martial emperor stage and possessed some of the martial emperor's might. Their combat strength was much stronger than other great circle spiritual gods. Xiaofan's expression turned grave as the supreme martial artist made his move. The demonic blade in his hand exuded a terrifying demonic might. Chaotic heavens, demonic blade. Xiaofan's saber slashed out, splitting the sky in half. The terrifying, pitch-black saber projection crashed into the giant palm. Boom! With a deafening boom, the giant palm was split open by the demonic blade, but Xiaofan was also forced to retreat. In front of him, a white-haired old man stepped out. The aura of a supreme martial artist was revealed on his body. What kind of demonic being dares to barge into this place? The white-haired old man opened his mouth to speak, but before he could finish his words, he was stunned. His eyes were wide open as he stared at Xiaofan, his eyes filled with fear, shock, and disbelief. What? How is that possible? The white-haired old man let out a roar of disbelief. Chapter 1149 Shock in the Royal Family. The white-haired supreme martial artist was completely stunned when he saw Xiaofan. His eyes widened in shock, and he momentarily forgot to attack. Seizing the opportunity, Xiaofan led Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and dashed toward the exit. A few experts tried to stop him, but Xiaofan sent them flying with a single slap. Xiaofan, along with Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, dashed into the door of light and disappeared. The white-haired supreme being only came to his senses after he watched Xiaofan, Lu Ming, and the others disappear. Autarch, who is that person? How could he be so powerful? An expert flew over to the white-haired sovereign and asked. They were very curious. The white-haired supreme martial artist had clearly been able to stop the other party, but he had stopped at the critical moment. I have seen this person's portrait before. This person is the sovereign of chaos, Xiaofan. The white-haired sovereign said in a heavy voice. What? The others widened their eyes in disbelief. Hurry up! The white-haired sovereign shouted and chased after the exit. The surroundings blurred and Lu Ming and the rest appeared from another door of light. This door of light was the entrance to the holy city. Kill! As soon as Xiaofan appeared, he immediately charged upward. The demonic qi surged as it broke through all the barriers. Xiaofan broke through all the barriers at the entrance, and finally broke through the earth and into the sky. Sila! Xiaofan tore open the space and stepped into the crack with Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, disappearing. At this moment, in the center of the sacred city, deep within the palace, Xie Qiqian, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes. There was a look of shock and doubt in his eyes. What a powerful demonic qi and demonic power. This is the entrance to the abyss demon realm. Did something happen there? Xie Qiqian mumbled. He then stood up and took a step forward. The space around him split open and he disappeared. In the next moment, he reappeared in the sky above the entrance of the abyss demon territory. At this moment, the white-haired supreme martial artist was rushing out in a hurry and happened to bump into Xie Qiqian. Sage Emperor, bad news. The white-haired old man said in a panic. What's the matter? Xie Qiqian furrowed his brows. He had a bad feeling about this. What could possibly cause a supreme martial artist to be in such a panic? Sage Emperor, it's Xiaofan. I saw Xiaofan. The white-haired sovereign said. What? Xie Qiqian's eyes widened in shock. What did you just say? You're saying that the person who just charged out of the demon realm of Tartarus is Xiaofan, the sovereign of chaos? Xie Qiqian asked this question a few times, showing how shocked he was. They look exactly the same. I don't know if it's real or not. The white-haired sovereign said. Let's go and take a look. Even though Xie Qiqian was a saint emperor and his expression remained unchanged, he lost his sense of propriety and became extremely anxious after hearing that it was Xiaofan. Xiaofan was a taboo of the royal Xia family. Back then, the royal Xia family dominated the central continent and even the divine wilderness continent. They were extremely prosperous and had many experts. However, because of Xiaofan, their strength had plummeted and declined by an unknown amount. Now, if it really was Xiaoluan, how could the imperial family resist him with their current strength? Xie Qiqian hurriedly entered the abyss demon territory and tore through space. Soon, he arrived at the Devil Tablet Mountain. Xie Qiqian stood in the sky above the Devil Tablet Mountain and looked at the empty mountain. A terrifying aura emanated from his body. 30,000 years, 30,000 years, how could he still be alive? Xie Qiqian mumbled to himself. Buzz, buzz. The space rippled, and two old men appeared beside Xie Qiqian, exuding a vast emperor's might. Near the Devil Tablet Mountain, there were still some scattered powerful beings from the Masha clan. When they felt the terrifying aura in the sky, they all fled for their lives. The Devil Tablet that suppressed Xiaoluan has disappeared. Could it be that Xiaoluan is still alive? How is it possible that he hasn't died in 30,000 years? An old emperor said in a trembling voice, revealing a trace of shock. In the past, they had heard about the strange phenomena of the Devil Tablet Mountain, but they didn't pay much attention to it. They thought that it was just a trace of Xiaoluan's demonic will. After all, how could an emperor live for 30,000 years without dying? This seemed to go against the rules of heaven and earth. They had no idea that the steel that suppressed Xiaoluan was the prison-guarding steel. Nor did they know that the prison-guarding steel had actually slowed down the rate at which Xiaoluan's life was flowing away. Xiaoluan is simply heaven-defying and can't be measured with common sense. Moreover, the guard said that he brought Lu Ming and Yanqing with him. This must be related to them, said Xie Qiqian. His voice was filled with coldness. Your Majesty, what do you plan to do? An old emperor asked. Even if Xiaoluan is still alive, he can't be completely fine after being suppressed for 30,000 years. His vitality must have been greatly damaged, and his strength must have been greatly reduced. Otherwise, with Xiaoluan's character, he wouldn't have fled in such a hurry. Use the Heaven Secrets instrument and lock onto Xiaoluan's Lu Ming's location. At the same time, spread the word to all the overlords and forces to kill Lu Ming. Those who succeed will be rewarded with a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. At this moment, Xie Qiqian had already regained his calm, reenacting the bearing of a generation's saint emperor. At first, he wanted to say, Xiaoluan, but he changed his tone and said, Lu Ming. He had a vague feeling that this matter had something to do with Lu Ming. In the past, Xian Yanqing had been in the Abyss Demon territory for so long, but there had been no trouble. However, Lu Ming had only been in there for a short time, and now there was such a big mess. He did not believe that this was a coincidence. Yes, Your Majesty. The two old emperors bowed. Xiaoluan brought Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing along as they tore through space. After 7 or 8 consecutive times, Xiaoluan stopped, his breathing weak. I've been suppressed for 30,000 years, and my vitality has been greatly damaged. My demonic body has almost collapsed, and I don't have much strength left. The supplements I absorbed before were too weak, and I've almost used them up. I can't help you anymore. Xiaoluan sighed. How can Senior recover? Lu Ming asked. I need supplements. I'll naturally recover by hunting experts. If I can kill an emperor, I might be able to recover my emperor's strength. Xiaoluan smiled. Lu Ming was speechless. Kill the emperor? Forget it, he didn't want to die. Of course there are other ways. Although I was suppressed back then, I still have a backup plan. Take me to the border between the central continent and the east continent. I have a backup plan there. If I go there, I can recover some of my strength and I can protect myself. Xiaoluan said. Lu Ming nodded. It was normal for a person like Xiaoluan to have a backup plan. Then, Xiaoluan gave Lu Ming an address. He turned into a beam of light and disappeared from Lu Ming's spine, entering the fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. Let's go. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing looked at each other and flew toward the east. However, the two of them suddenly stopped after flying for a short while. This was because there was suddenly an endless flash of light above Lu Ming's head. These lights then gathered together and formed a spherical object. There were waves of mysterious fluctuations that spread into the distance. Heaven's Secrets Instruments Projection. Not good this. Could this be a Heaven's Secrets instrument? Xian Yanqing exclaimed in shock. Heaven's Secrets Instrument? What is a Heaven's Secrets instrument? Lu Ming looked at the ball of light above his head and frowned. With such a huge ball of light on his head, how could he travel? At this moment, Xie Qitian's figure reappeared. He looked at the sky and sighed. As expected, the imperial family still used the Heaven's Secrets instrument. Senior, what is a Heaven's Secrets instrument? Lu Ming asked. You should know about the Secret Chamber of Commerce, right? Xie Qitian said. Yes. Lu Ming nodded and said, I heard that the Horizon Chamber of Commerce is controlled by the royal family, the Xie family. That's right. The Heaven's Secret Chamber of Commerce was founded by the royal Xie family. Their goal is to grasp the news from all over the world. They use the Heaven's Secret instrument to see through many things that others don't know. At the same time, the Heaven's Secret instrument has another function, which is to pursue and pursue. As long as you can grasp a person's aura and activate the Heaven's Secret instrument, you can condense a projection of the Heaven's Secret instrument above that person's head and find that person's location. Now, the imperial family has obviously activated the Heaven's Secrets instrument. The projection of the Heaven's Secrets instrument will emit a kind of Heaven's Secrets force field. As long as an inscriber makes a disk array that can sense the Heaven's Secrets force field, they will be able to sense the approximate location of the Heaven's Secrets instrument projection and lock onto your position from there. I'm afraid that it won't be long before you are found. Xiaofan said. It's actually so magical. Lu Ming frowned. He circulated the essential core in his body and threw a few punches in succession. A few rays of fist radiance shot up into the sky and pierced through the space. However, they were of no use to the Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection and directly passed through it. It's useless. The Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection can't be destroyed. Unless the other party stops operating the Heaven's Secrets instrument, the Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection will always be there. Xiaofan said. I don't believe it. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he formed a seal with his hands. 2 light doors appeared in the sky. It was the sealing gate of the 9 seals of the Gate of God. The 2 doors of light landed on the 2 sides of the Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection, emitting a resplendent light. Under the light of the sealing door, the Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection actually dimmed and slowly shrank. This is the 9 seals of the Gate of God? Xiaowan's eyes lit up. Bang! Bang! In the sky, the Heaven's Secrets instrument's projection, which was about to dim, suddenly shone brightly again. The 2 gates of sealing exploded. The 9 seals of the Gate of God are useless. Lu Ming frowned. I didn't expect you to have mastered the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. This is the ultimate technique of the sky-sealing Divine Warrior. With the 9 seals of the Divine Gate, you should be able to seal the Heaven's Secrets instrument projection for a while. However, your cultivation is too weak, so you can't seal the Heaven's Secrets instrument projection. How about this? You can teach me the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. When I understand it, I can definitely seal the Heaven's Secrets instrument projection for a while and buy us some time. Xiaowan suggested. All right. Lu Ming agreed without thinking. It was just a secret technique, so what if he passed it on to Xie Luan? As long as it could solve their current predicament. Lu Ming then handed the jade talisman that recorded the 9 seals of the Gate of God to Xiaowan. Xiaowan's eyes lit up. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so decisive. This kid will definitely be a #1 figure in the future. Xiaowan thought. All right, keep flying east. As long as you keep moving, it will increase the difficulty of the other party finding you. Xiaowan said. Then he entered the fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. Little Qing, you should enter the mountain and river diagram first. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing. N. Xian Yanqing nodded. She also understood that it would be more convenient for Lu Ming to act alone. After a flash of light, Xian Yanqing entered the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming took a step forward and continued to fly toward the east. Using the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, Lu Ming was as fast as a stream of light. Moreover, he was flying in a remote direction. On this day, the entire central continent was in shock. The royal family, the Xie family, sent a message to all the major forces in the world. Not only were they the overlords, but they were also the forces that were a level lower than them. The royal family activated the Heaven Secrets instrument and condensed a Heaven Secrets projection on Lu Ming. They called on all major forces to kill Lu Ming. Whoever killed Lu Ming would be rewarded with a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. Once the news was out, Central Continent was in an uproar. The royal family had actually activated the Heaven Secrets instrument and its target was Lu Ming. If they remembered correctly, didn't Lu Ming enter the Abyss Demon Realm after the million-year sacrifice? Many people who knew the inside story knew that the score that Xie Qiqian had set for Lu Ming was to imprison him for life. It was impossible for him to achieve that score. However, the royal family had activated the Heaven Secrets instrument to kill Lu Ming. How did Lu Ming escape? Most importantly, the royal family's reward was a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. This shocked all the major forces, regardless of whether they were overlords or lower-level forces. Then they became greedy. The royal family and the Xie family were actually willing to take out a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. As its name suggested, it was a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure that could help martial artists transcend their tribulations. A martial artist's journey was filled with many tribulations. Not counting the other tribulations, just the heavenly tribulations alone were not few in number. There was a heavenly tribulation to break through to the martial king realm. There was a heavenly tribulation for breaking through to the spiritual god realm. When a spiritual god broke through to the emperor realm, there would also be a heavenly tribulation. There were many tribulations, and each tribulation was more terrifying than the previous one. How many people could survive all of them? As for tribulation-transcending heavenly treasures, they could help people transcend their tribulations. They could be used regardless of their cultivation level. It could be said that the success rate of using a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure to break through to the martial king realm was 100%. The success rate of breaking through to the spiritual god realm would increase by 50%. Breaking through to the emperor realm would also increase the success rate of transcending the tribulation by several times. How tempting was this? Which force? Which expert would not be tempted? Moreover, tribulation-transcending heavenly treasures could be used repeatedly. If one person used it, another person could also use it. This was too important for a large force. How many experts could it increase? The most fatal temptation was to a supreme martial artist. The next step for supreme beings was to break through to the emperor realm. Tribulation-transcending heavenly treasures were fatally tempting to them. Immediately, the various overlord forces and the forces one level lower refined array discs that could sense the heaven's legacy force field to sense Lu Ming's location. Lu Ming kept flying. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. He had no idea how far he had flown. There was a projection of the Heaven Secrets apparatus above his head, so he naturally couldn't take the teleportation array. He could only rely on himself to fly. Not good, Lu Ming. There's a powerful being approaching from the north. It's a perfected spiritual god. Suddenly, Xiaofan's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. Great circle of the spiritual god stage. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. With his current cultivation, if he were to encounter a great circle spiritual god, death would be the only outcome. There was no possibility of him resisting at all. I'll take you away. Xiaofan's figure appeared. He mustered his remaining strength and tore open the space. He brought Lu Ming into the space and disappeared. Just as Xiaofan took Lu Ming away, a terrifying sword light flew over from the distance. It was a skinny old man, holding a formation disc in his hand. His face was extremely gloomy. Damn it, I clearly sensed that he was here just now. How did he disappear in the blink of an eye? Chapter 1151 Killing Enemies in Succession. Somewhere far away, the space cracked open and Xiaofan stepped out of it with Lu Ming. At this moment, the demonic qi on Xiaofan's body was dim, and he looked somewhat dispirited. Lu Ming, I've already done my best and exhausted the last bit of my energy. I can't tear space to travel anymore. I'll be relying on you next, Xiaofan said. Lu Ming nodded, frowning slightly. He was considering finding a place to hide. He would hide in the mountain and river diagram and wait until Xiaofan had successfully cultivated the 9 seals of the Gate of God. He didn't believe that the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument could still appear after entering the mountain and river diagram. At this moment, Xiaofan's eyes flickered. He looked in a direction and sneered. I didn't expect that even some 5th and 6th level spiritual god level trash would come to join in the fun. Lu Ming, you should have no problem dealing with 5th and 6th level spiritual god trash, right? Get me some tonics. With that, Xiaofan entered Lu Ming's body and disappeared. Lu Ming stood in the air and waited quietly. Buzz. Whoosh. Not long after, a series of air-piercing sounds rang out in the air as sword lights tore through the void and flew over. In the blink of an eye, the 5 sword gleams disappeared and 5 figures stood around Lu Ming, surrounding him in the middle. Among the 5 figures, there was an old man and a middle-aged man. However, they were all wearing the same white robe and carrying a long sword on their back. The Heavenly Martial Sword Faction. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold killing intent. Among the 5 people, 2 were at the 6th level of the spiritual god realm, and 3 were at the 5th level of the spiritual god realm. All of them were from the Heavenly Martial Sword Faction. Lu Ming knew that this territory was most likely the territory of the Heavenly Martial Sword Faction. Otherwise, how could he have encountered 5 people at once? They were all from the Heavenly Martial Sword Faction. Ha ha ha, we're the first to find it. What great luck! A middle-aged brawny man laughed loudly. His aura was violent, and the aura of a 6th level spiritual god was revealed without a doubt. He looked at Lu Ming with a burning gaze. If he killed Lu Ming, he would have a heavenly tribulation transcending treasure. At the thought of this, his heart trembled with excitement. Although he's young, he can't be underestimated. I heard that he displayed terrifying combat strength in the Holy City, second only to Long Chen. An old man in the 5th level of the spiritual god realm said with a serious expression. What are you afraid of? No matter how strong he is, he's only at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. We have 2 6th level spiritual gods and 3 5th level spiritual gods here. Can he still overturn the heavens? The middle-aged man from before said, full of confidence. Are you done with your nonsense? Lu Ming's cold voice stunned the 5 people from the Sky Martial Sword Faction. They looked at Lu Ming in shock. Enough of your nonsense, I'll send you on your way. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming's aura exploded, and 8 streams of dragon energy instantly erupted in his body. He took a step forward and rushed toward a 5th level spiritual god realm expert, striking out with his palm. Sila! This palm was terrifyingly powerful. The space crumbled like tofu under the palm, and the terrifying aura completely enveloped the other party. The man's eyes widened and he looked extremely frightened. However, he did not even have the chance to scream before he was torn into pieces by Lu Ming's terrifying strength, his blood splattering across the sky. Damn it! You're looking for death. How dare you sneak attack? With a flash of blood-red light, it slashed toward the middle-aged man in the 6th level of the spiritual god realm. Enveloped by the endless killing intent, the middle-aged man shuddered and his eyes were filled with fear. He tried his best to slash out with his sword, but the sword radiance collapsed under Lu Ming's blood-red sword radiance. The blood-red sword radiance cut through the middle-aged man's glabella. Pucci! The middle-aged man was split in half, and even the spiritual god did not manage to escape. Seeing this scene, the remaining 3 people were scared out of their wits. How could Lu Ming be so terrifying? Even an expert at the 6th level of the spiritual god realm was killed by a single sword strike. This was a gap of 3 levels. Run, run, run! At that moment, they only had one thought in their minds, and that was to escape. The further he ran, the better. This was a god of death. The 3 of them turned into 3 sword lights and fled in 3 different directions. Kill! Lu Ming took a step forward and executed the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, charging towards a 5th level spiritual god realm expert. In an instant, he caught up to the person and slashed out with his sword. That person let out a desperate roar and fought back with all his might, but it was useless. The sword light descended and destroyed everything. Blood splattered and a head flew far away. At the same time, sword chi seeped out and killed the man's spiritual god. With this delay, the other two had already flown a long distance away. Don't even think about leaving, go! Lu Ming waved his hand, and the blood-red sword in his hand turned into a ray of blood-red light, rapidly charging toward a 5th-level spiritual god realm expert. As for Lu Ming himself, he executed the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and chased after the remaining 6th-level spiritual god realm expert. Lu Ming's body was like a stream of light. In just a few breaths, he had caught up with the other party. Lu Ming, if you kill us, you're going to die too. The supreme martial artists of the Heaven Martial Sword faction are all here. You can't run. The man roared, his eyes filled with despair. He performed the blood meridian fusion and turned it into a combat sword. He wanted to fight to the death. Even if he died, he wanted to make Lu Ming pay a price. Unfortunately, his plan was destined to fail. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and struck out with his palm. Ever since the prison-guarding steel's bloodline had merged with the real one, the power of his prison-guarding heavenly skill had increased significantly. When he used the same amount of true energy and the same level of the prison-suppressing heavenly art, his power was much stronger than before. In addition to the 8 streams of dragon energy, Lu Ming's strength was truly terrifying. He was much stronger than when he fought against the various prodigies in the Holy City. Now, if he were to face Dark Child again, Lu Ming was confident that he could defeat him in a few moves. Boom! The palm suppressed everything as if it had infinite power. It pressed through the sky and slashed at the combat sword that the person had transformed into. With a palm, the combat sword was shattered into pieces. It turned back into a human figure and coughed up blood. After the second palm strike, the man's body was torn into pieces. Whoosh! A blood-red sword gleam flew over and hovered above Lu Ming's head again, turning into a drop of blood. It was obvious that the 5th-level spiritual god realm martial artist had also been killed by the blood-red combat sword. The 5 experts of the heavenly sword faction had been completely annihilated. Demonic chi filled the air as Xiaofan appeared. He looked at Lu Ming in surprise and asked, "Your battle prowess is not bad." Killing 7th-level spiritual god realm. Senior is too kind. Lu Ming said. Haha, no need to be humble. These people will be my tonics. They can help me recover some vitality. Xiaofan laughed and transformed into a ball of demonic chi. He wrapped the blood and flesh of the Heaven Martial Sword sex expert that Lu Ming had killed and absorbed them all. It was unknown what kind of cultivation technique Xiaofan was cultivating, but it was extremely overbearing. It could directly absorb a warrior's essence, chi, and spirit and transform them into his own essence. It was comparable to the devouring power of the 9 dragons. Of course, Xiaowan's cultivation level was unfathomable, and he was considered an expert even among emperors. It was normal for him to have all sorts of tricks up his sleeve. Then, Xiaofan did the same thing and absorbed the remaining 4. The demonic chi on Xiaowan's body wriggled, and his aura grew stronger. Those at the 5th and 6th level of the spiritual god realm are too weak. They can only recover a little, but it's better than nothing. Lu Ming, there are 7th-level spiritual god realm martial artists rushing over from the east. Hee, they're pretty good tonics. Xiaofan sneered. Although Xiaowan's chi and blood were weak, and his combat strength was far worse than when he was at his peak, his spiritual sense was still very terrifying. It was the spiritual sense of a martial emperor, which could sense the situation over a long distance. Therefore, he could sense the enemy in advance every time. 7th level of the spiritual god realm? Then kill. There was a sharp glint in Lu Ming's eyes. He guessed that the royal Xie family must have promised him a great reward. Otherwise, why would these non-members of the royal Xie family want to kill him so badly? However, if they wanted to kill him, they had to be prepared to be killed in return. Lu Ming took a step forward and headed east. At this moment, 2 burly men in their 50s or 60s were flying in Lu Ming's direction from the east. Both of them were dressed in white robes and carried combat swords on their backs. One look and one could tell that they were experts from the Heavenly Martial Sword School. One of them was holding an array board in his hand. On the array board, there was a light spot flashing not far from them. We're almost there. Lu Ming is over there. He's not dead yet. Haha, it seems like we found him first. The two of them smiled at each other, their eyes burning with passion. Why is he approaching us? Suddenly, one of them spoke. They discovered that the dot of light on the formation plate was rapidly approaching them. Haha, this kid is really courting death. He must not know we are here, so he chose a random direction and came to our side. Haha, it seems that even the heavens are helping us. Another man laughed. They naturally didn't know of Xiaofan's existence. The matter of Xiaofan was too important. The royal Xia family had not leaked it. In fact, only a few people in the royal Xia family knew about it. The royal Xia family had only mentioned Lu Ming to the public. The two of them spoke as they flew. Not long after, a black-robed young man stepped through the air. The three of them looked at each other. However, to the surprise of the two powerhouses from the Sky Martial Sword faction, Lu Ming's eyes did not seem to be surprised at all when he saw them. Instead, there was a hint of killing intent in his eyes. This gave the two of them a bad feeling. He shook his head and threw the bad premonition out of his mind. He was only a junior at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. No matter how strong and heaven-defying he was, how could he cross 4 levels and fight with them, who were at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm? They had lived for thousands of years, yet they had never heard of a Heaven's Pride expert who could cross 4 levels in the spiritual god realm and fight a 7th level spiritual god while being at the 3rd level. How could anyone who could reach the 7th level of the spiritual god realm be weak? They were all extremely powerful existences. When they were young, they were all geniuses of a region. They felt that they were overthinking things. Let's attack together and kill this brat. We'll split the rewards equally according to their value. One of them said. Although they felt that Lu Ming could not possibly be their match, they still decided to attack together and end the battle as soon as possible to avoid any complications. All right. The other man nodded. Buzz, buzz, whoosh. The battle sword buzzed, and the sword chi broke through the air, stirring up the wind and clouds. The two of them took a step forward at the same time and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I'll leave one to you and the other to me. Xiaofan appeared and transformed into a stream of demonic chi, sweeping toward one of them. Kill! Without saying anything else, Lu Ming charged at one of them. His palm was like a heavenly blade as he used the prison-suppressing heaven technique to suppress the enemy. Clang! The palm and his opponent's sword clashed heavily, creating a terrifying boom. At the point where the palm and the sword met, a ripple spread out at a terrifying speed. Hundreds of miles away, a mountain peak that reached into the clouds was swept by the ripples and was directly cut in half. Gravel broke through the air and smoke filled the air. Bang! 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 After the exchange of blows, a figure retreated 3 steps. It was the expert from the Heavenly Martial Sword faction. He retreated, but Lu Ming's body only swayed a little. How is that possible? The expert from the Heavenly Martial Sword School widened his eyes in disbelief. Facing the attack head-on, he was actually forced back by Lu Ming's palm. How was this possible? He clearly discovered that Lu Ming's cultivation was indeed at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. A 3rd level spiritual god actually forced him, a 7th level spiritual god, to take 3 steps back. This was too terrifying. This kid is too monstrous. Kill him, we must kill him. The Sky Martial Sword School's expert roared in his heart as he circulated his Zhan Yuan to the extreme. At the same time, he performed bloodline fusion, turning it into a combat sword and exploding with his strongest combat power. This person had a divine level rank 5 bloodline. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded and the 9-dragon bloodline emerged. Lu Ming also burst out the 9-dragon bloodline and performed the bloodline fusion to transform into 9 dragons. The 9 dragons roared as they stepped into the air and pounced toward the other party. Bang! Bang! The dragon claws tore through the sky and collided with the combat sword continuously. But the combat sword was completely at a disadvantage and could not fight against the 9 dragons. When Lu Ming first entered the Abyss Demon territory, he had to borrow the 3rd bloodline's power in excess to kill the 7th level spiritual god realm expert from the Xia family. But now, Lu Ming did not need to borrow the 3rd bloodline's power excessively to suppress the other party. After more than 10 moves, the combat sword was completely suppressed. It was constantly bombarded by the 9 dragons and kept shaking. Every single move of the 9 dragons contained the prison-suppressing heavenly art, and its power was simply too great. Every move was like a divine monument pressing down. Ah! Suddenly, a blood-curdling screech came from nearby. It was from another expert of the heavenly martial sword school. He had been killed by Xiaofan, and was now wrapped in a mass of demonic qi. This made the powerhouse who was fighting with Lu Ming tremble in his heart. Fear filled his heart. His heart was in a mess, and his strength became weaker. Lu Ming seized the opportunity to hit the sword with a few consecutive moves. With a bang, the sword exploded, revealing the man's true body. His face was pale and he spat out blood. He retreated quickly, trying to escape. The 9 dragons stomped on the air at a terrifying speed, chasing after the other party and launching a series of attacks. After a few moves, the man let out a blood-curdling screech as his chest was pierced by the 9 dragons' claws. He was killed on the spot. Sealing the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument. Now, Lu Ming could kill a 7th-level spiritual god realm expert by himself. Of course, the 7 levels of the spiritual god realm were also divided into strong and weak. This person was considered average among the 7 levels of the spiritual god realm. If he had awakened a 6th-level divine level or even a 7th-level divine level bloodline, or if his low-grade divine level martial technique was a bit stronger, he would not be so easy to kill. As soon as the man was killed by Lu Ming, the demonic qi that Xiaofan had turned into flew over and wrapped him up. In just a few breaths, not even a residue was left of him. Lu Ming secretly felt that it was a pity. If he had devoured a few 7th-level spiritual god realm martial artists, his cultivation would also be able to improve quickly. However, the most important thing now was for Xia Luan to recover his strength. If he fully recovered, no, he didn't need to fully recover. As long as he recovered to the realm of an ordinary emperor, their safety would be guaranteed. Lu Ming, another expert is here. This time, it's a perfected spiritual god expert. We can't deal with him. Let's find a place to hide first. I'll come out after I've cultivated the 9 seals of the divine gate. Xiaofan said after sensing for a moment. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He turned to the south and used the 9 dragons' heaven treading steps. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Not long after Lu Ming left, an extremely powerful presence appeared at the place where the battle had taken place. The person sensed it carefully and frowned as he muttered, "Junior brother Wan and the others' auras are here." However, judging from the remnant auras, they should have died. Lu Ming actually has such powerful means to kill a 7th-level spiritual god realm existence? The man mumbled to himself before looking to the south. A fiery light flashed in his eyes as he chased after them. Lu Ming flew more than 100,000 miles and saw a huge lake. He rushed down with a long spear in his hand. The long spear spun and pierced through the soil and rocks at the bottom of the lake, rushing underground. At the same time, under the influence of Lu Ming's will of the earth, Lu Ming's speed of penetrating the underground rocks was very fast. In just a short while, he was 100 miles below the ground. At the same time, the rocks that he had passed through behind him regrouped as if no one had passed through them. This Heaven Secrets instrument projection is really amazing. It can still be condensed even in the depths of the earth. Lu Ming frowned and looked at the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument above his head. He continued to rush underground. After a few breaths, he traveled another 100 miles. With a thought, Lu Ming appeared in the mountain and river diagram. As soon as he entered the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming looked up and finally heaved a long sigh of relief. The projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument above his head was finally cut off and did not appear again. The mountain and river diagram was indeed a legendary treasure. It seemed to be of a higher level than the Heaven Secrets instrument of the royal Xia family, as it had successfully blocked the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument. Deep underground, only the mountain and river diagram was among the rocks. About 10 breaths after Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, the being with the great circle of the spirit embryo realm also arrived above the lake. However, at this moment, the array disc in the person's hand dimmed and he had completely lost contact with Lu Ming. What's going on? Why did the formation plate lose its connection to the Heaven Secrets instrument's projection? That shouldn't be the case, The Heaven Secrets device is the most mysterious treasure of the royal Xia family. Even if it's hidden deep underground, it should still be able to sense it. Could it be that the royal Xia family suddenly stopped operating the Heaven Secrets device? This person frowned and various thoughts appeared in his mind as he began to search the surroundings. In the mountain and river diagram, Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged under the path understanding ancient tree, cultivating quietly. Lu Ming came to Xian Yanqing's side. Not only were there experts from the Heavenly Martial Sword School, but there were also experts from the royal family, the Xia family, and even experts from other forces such as Cold Blood Hall and Sky Eagle Castle who had come from hundreds of millions of miles away. In the past 3 days, many experts had ransacked the place but they did not find any traces of Lu Ming. Hunting. What's going on? The Heaven Secrets instrument was still operating but it could not sense Lu Ming's projection? What kind of treasure does this guy have that can isolate the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument? Generally, treasures with internal spaces can't isolate the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument. Could it be that Lu Ming has a treasure of a higher grade than the Heaven Secrets instrument? Some people guessed, and the flames of greed in their eyes burned even more. If they killed Lu Ming, not only would they be rewarded with a priceless tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure from the royal family, but they would also be able to obtain the treasures on Lu Ming. This made everyone's hearts burn with a fiery flame. There's a reaction, the array board is reacting. Suddenly, someone shouted. There's really a reaction. The projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument has reappeared. Lu Ming has appeared. He's still in this area. Tens of thousands of miles to the south. Let's go. One figure after another felt the reaction of the array board in their hands and rushed to the south. However, after a few breaths, these people stopped again. What's going on? The formation plate's reaction has disappeared again. What the hell? You should die. At this moment, these people's disc arrays had lost their connection to the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument. I don't care. He's in the south. Many experts flew in the direction that they had sensed earlier. Very soon, many people appeared near the lake where Lu Ming had transmitted into the underground and began to search. There are so many people here. The Royal Xia family, Heavenly Martial Sword School, Cold Blood Hall, Ji family. In the crowd, a dark-skinned burly man looked around with a cold light in his eyes. This person was Lu Ming. Previously, he had changed his appearance and rushed out of the ground. Not long after, he discovered a large number of experts approaching. He took the opportunity to mix in with these experts and inquire some information. Lu Ming had changed his aura using the illusionary breath technique. These people could not recognize him at all. Lu Ming had successfully obtained a lot of important information. The royal Xia family is really willing to take out a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. However, it's understandable. The chaotic Sky Emperor has reappeared. The royal Xia family is probably already panicking. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Senior, since there are so many tonics here, why don't we find an opportunity to get rid of some? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Xiaofan. Haha, that's just what I want. Let's leave this place first and look for those who are alone. Xiaofan laughed heartily, his voice ringing in Lu Ming's ears. The experts here searched the surroundings. After not finding Lu Ming, they scattered. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd and followed behind the few powerhouses from the Heavenly Sword sect. Of the 3 experts from the Heavenly Martial Sword faction, 2 were at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm, and 1 was at the 6th level. After flying for a distance, the 3 of them stopped and turned to look at Lu Ming. This brother, what are you trying to do by following the 3 of us? One of the 7th level spiritual god realm experts asked, his gaze somewhat cold. They had long sensed that Lu Ming was following them. However, the aura that Lu Ming revealed was only at the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm. They did not care at all. However, after being followed for such a long distance, they also revealed killing intent in their hearts. Haven't you been looking for me? Lu Ming smiled faintly and his voice became younger. The 3 of them were stunned for a moment, then their eyes lit up. You are Lu Ming. One of them coldly shouted. Buzz, buzz, buzz. 3 sword hums resounded and 3 sword lights shot into the sky. Kill! Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on them. He charged forward. At the same time, Xiaofan also appeared and pounced at his opponent. After Xiaofan absorbed 2 experts in the 7th level of the spiritual god realm, his strength had recovered a little. It was even easier for him to deal with martial artists in the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. 4 sealing gates appeared, instantly freezing the 3 experts of the heavenly martial sword school. Lu Ming killed one of them with a single palm strike. The other 2 were killed by Xiaofan before they were enveloped by the rolling demonic qi. 3 storage rings flew out toward Lu Ming, who grabbed them and kept them. After a few breaths, the 3 experts from the heavenly sword faction had disappeared. The demonic qi on Xiaofan's body grew even more powerful and churned. The muscles all over Xiaoluan's body squirmed and were filled with demonic radiance. He was like a supreme demonic god, exuding a terrifying aura. It's so comfortable. My immortal demonic body has recovered a little, but it's still far from it. Let's continue. A demonic light flickered in Xiaofan's eyes, as if an unparalleled demonic god was about to awaken. All right. Lu Ming nodded without any hesitation. Now, he was in the same boat as Xiaofan. The stronger Xiaofan was, the more advantageous it would be for him. Then, Lu Ming left the place and set his eyes on 2 Cold Blood Hall experts. The 2 7th-level spiritual god realm experts were easily killed by Lu Ming. The hunt continued. No one would notice Lu Ming's disguise. Lu Ming specifically chose those who were alone or in groups of 2 or 3 to attack, but they were all easily killed by Xiaofan and became his nourishment. Many experts had come to this region. They came from various overlord forces and even some of the forces that were 1 level lower. Of course, not all the forces had come. For example, the heaven-suppressing divine army, the biggest enemy of the royal family and the Xia family, had no one come. Also, Shenkong Mountain and Tianxia Academy didn't send anyone. Apart from a few overlord forces that had not sent anyone, Lu Ming discovered people from 10 overlord forces. Lu Ming did not show any mercy. He led Xiaofan and hunted them down one by one. Slowly, Xiaofan's strength grew stronger and stronger. From being able to kill a 7th-level spiritual god in the beginning, he was able to easily kill an 8th-level spiritual god later on, and then to a 9th-level spiritual god. 3 hours later, the effect of the sealing door was over. Lu Ming found a secret place and asked Xiaofan to help him seal it again. Hoo-hoo! Demonic qi churned. After Xiaofan absorbed a 9th-level spiritual god realm expert, the demonic qi in his body reached a terrifying level, especially his demonic body. It was like a demonic weapon, revealing a terrifying aura. Immortal demon body. The sovereign realm was completely different from the spiritual god realm. An emperor's intent would transform into a domain, and their bloodline would condense into a spiritual body. Both of these were terrifyingly powerful. A spirit body had already transcended the mortal body and had the power to destroy the world. An emperor could easily kill anyone below the emperor level with just his spirit body, even without his territory. Xiaofan's immortal demon body was a kind of spirit body, a kind of overbearing and extremely powerful spirit body. Because Xiaofan had been suppressed by the fragment of the prison-suppressing steel for 30,000 years, his spirit body had almost collapsed, and he was now slowly condensing it back. Lu Ming, how about we do something big? Xiaofan's eyes were filled with demonic qi. A big one? How do we do it? Lu Ming was very tempted. Although Xiaofan had killed many powerhouses and turned their flesh, vital essence, and blood essence into Xiaofan's tonics, Lu Ming did not get a single piece of them. However, Xiaofan did not take the storage rings and gave them all to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was rich now, so he was naturally tempted. Using a formation to kill a group of people. Xiaofan slowly explained his plan. Chapter 1155 Guiding Xiaofan. Not only was Xiaofan's martial arts cultivation extremely strong, he was also unrivaled among the divine wilderness continent's emperors. His Tao of Inscription was not weak either. It had reached the peak of the 8th rank, which was also the great circle of the spiritual god realm. He needed to find a place to set up a peerless formation and kill a group of experts. This was especially true for Great Circle Spirit God stage experts. Lu Ming was in full support of the idea. The two of them chose a hidden Great Canyon. This Great Canyon had a wide and magnificent view. When Lu Ming arrived, Xiaofan began to inscribe the array. In the beginning, an illusory formation was inscribed to conceal their figures and other formations. After the illusory formation, it was the killing formation. Xiaofan's hands kept moving, and one inscription after another sank into the ground around the valley. No, your formation is not powerful enough. It won't be that easy to kill a Great Circle spiritual god expert. On his shoulder, Dandan stood on her two legs and watched Xiaofan carve the formation, looking like she was in charge of everything. Xiaofan was a little curious. He looked at Dandan, pondered for a moment and said, "This array of mine should be able to kill 3 Great Circle spiritual gods without any problems." Bullshit! Dandan put her hands on her hips and scolded him directly. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This guy was berating Xiaofan like this. He was probably looking for a beating. Xiaofan raised an eyebrow, and a powerful aura began to emanate from him. But a moment later, he retracted his aura. Dandan was also shocked at first. She grabbed Lu Ming with her claws and waited for Xiaofan's aura to subside before she secretly heaved a long sigh of relief. Let me tell you, although your formation can kill up to 3 people in the Great Circle of the spiritual god realm, it will definitely take some time. If it doesn't succeed in a short time and attracts the attention of supreme-level experts, we can only run away. Dandan continued to put on a smug look. Xiaofan's brows twitched. Dandan was right. His formation could indeed kill 3 Great Circle spirit god experts, but it would take some time. Kid, you're still too young to play with formations in front of me. Let me teach you. She arrogantly rushed out and began to wave her hands above Xiaofan's formation. Runes began to appear, but they didn't merge with Xiaofan's runes, only marked them. You can inscribe the inscriptions according to what I've inscribed. This way, the power of your array will double. Dandan continued to inscribe as she muttered. Xiaofan looked carefully and was surprised when he saw the back. He found that the inscriptions that Dandan pointed out and engraved were very wonderful. If they were supplemented into his array, it could indeed increase the power of his array by a large margin. It was more than enough to double the power. Lu Ming, this little turtle of yours is extraordinary. It has an unusual background. Xiaofan looked at Lu Ming, the surprise in his eyes deepening. After a short period of interaction, he realized that he could not see through Lu Ming anymore. He had a big secret. Although his current cultivation was still weak, he had a bright future and it was difficult to predict. What little turtle? Little brat, I'm one of the top 10 war beasts. Dandan's ears were very sharp, and she heard it from afar. She became even more proud and spoke to Xiao Yan in a tone as if she was lecturing a junior. What? Top 10 battle beasts? You're one of the top 10 battle beasts? Xiaofan's eyes suddenly widened, a look of shock on his face. Senior, don't listen to his nonsense. This guy just likes to brag. Lu Ming said hurriedly. There are even legends that some of the top 10 battle beasts don't come from our world, but from another world. It's said that the original body of your 9-dragon bloodline is one of the top 10 battle beasts, the 9 dragons. It can easily kill a saint. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Also, some of them came from another realm. Lu Ming thought of heaven. As Dandan came from the heaven gate, Lu Ming speculated that the other side of the heaven gate was the heaven realm. All right. I've added the necessary inscriptions. Kid, inscribe it according to the trajectory I've carved. The power of the formation will definitely increase by a large margin. Dandan flew back and landed on Lu Ming again. Xiaofan sized up Dandan seriously, but didn't say anything. He flew out and began to inscribe inscriptions according to the trajectory Dandan had carved. Dandan, in the future, don't mention that you are one of the top 10 war beasts in front of others. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan to remind her. In the Divine Wilderness continent, it seemed that people did not know much about the top 10 war beasts. Even Xiaofan, the sovereign of the chaotic heavens, had only heard of them from overseas. This was still fine, as no one would pay much attention to him if he were to clamor all day long. If Lu Ming's cultivation level became stronger in the future and he broke through to the martial emperor realm, he would be targeted by others if he went overseas and made such a big fuss. According to Xiaofan, the top 10 battle beasts were existences that could easily obliterate saints. That in itself was a supreme treasure, and if others knew about it, how could they not be tempted and covet it? All right, I'll stop talking. Dandan was very smart and had obviously thought of this as she muttered. Xiaofan spent an entire day inscribing the formation. During this time, he would point out any shortcomings and Xiaofan would do as he was told. A day later, the formation was completed. After that, it was time to attract people over. However, first, they had to check if there were any Supreme Being level figures. If they attracted a Supreme Being level figure, not to mention killing others, even they would be in danger. Lu Ming changed his appearance and strolled around the area, checking and asking around to see if there were any Supreme Being level figures. After confirming that there were no Supreme Beings around, Lu Ming returned to the place where he had set up the array and waited quietly. Soon, the energy of the sealing gate was exhausted, and the Heaven Secrets Instruments projection reappeared. At that moment, everyone with a formation disk in a radius of 1,000,000 miles reacted at the same time. Light spots reappeared on the formation plate. It's Lu Ming. Lu Ming has appeared. Damn it, he has been appearing and disappearing from time to time during this period of time. Now he's using this move again. He's playing with us. If I catch him, I'll skin him alive. Those powerhouses couldn't hold back their anger and started to curse. However, he still obediently charged in the direction indicated by the formation plate. Hey, this time, Lu Ming did not disappear. The array disk has been showing him. If that's the case, it would have disappeared a while ago, but it hasn't disappeared yet. I guess Lu Ming has used some method to hide the aura of the Heaven Secrets Instruments projection. Now he can't hide it anymore. Many people's eyes lit up as they rushed in the direction shown on the array disk. Fourth level spiritual god realm. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the sky above the Grand Canyon. Above his head, the Heaven Secrets Instruments projection was rotating slowly, emitting a wonderful fluctuation. Xiaofan was floating beside Lu Ming. It's almost time. Seal. Xiaofan suddenly shouted. He kept forming seals with both hands and 4 sealing doors appeared, sealing the projection of the Heaven Secrets Instrument. Then, he charged into the Grand Canyon and dug a big hole with his spear. Lu Ming rushed dozens of miles underground and spread his spiritual senses. Buzz, buzz, buzz. One figure after another appeared, floating around the Great Canyon, exuding a powerful aura. The weakest of them was at the 6th level of the spiritual god realm, while the strongest had an earth-shattering aura. They were extremely terrifying and were shockingly experts at the great circle of the spiritual god realm. They were all dressed differently. Some wore white swordsman robes, most of whom were experts from the Heavenly Martial Sword School, while others wore blood-red robes, experts from Cold Blood Hall. Lu Ming used his spiritual senses to scan and found that the Heavenly Sword faction, Cold Blood Hall, and the royal Xia family had the most experts. What's going on? Why did the Heaven Secrets apparatus's projection disappear again? Is this Heaven Secrets apparatus's projection of any use? Damn it, the disk array clearly showed that it was nearby. Why did it suddenly disappear? Lu Ming must be nearby and hiding somewhere. Let's surround this area and see how long he can hide. One by one, the experts shouted out. Their figures flashed and they surrounded the area. With so many experts here, how much wealth would there be in their interspatial rings? Lu Ming's eyes shone with a fiery glow. Xiaofan also spread out his spiritual sense to sense the surroundings. 4 great circle spiritual gods, 9 9th-level spiritual gods, and no supremes. That's enough, that's enough. With these tonics, I'm confident that I can fight against supremes. Xiaofan murmured, his eyes cold. Lu Ming, I'm going to release a trace of the seal now. Xiaofan said. Lu Ming nodded. Then, Xiaofan performed a hand seal and unlocked the door of seal a little. Buzz! Immediately, some fluctuations of the Heaven Secrets Instruments projection were emitted. At this moment, the array discs in the hands of the experts near the Great Canyon moved. They reacted and all pointed in one direction, the the Great Canyon. He's appeared. Lu Ming has appeared. He's in that huge canyon. He should be hiding in the underground of the Great Canyon, using a secret technique to conceal the fluctuations of the Heaven Secrets Instruments projection. Now, he finally can't hide anymore and is about to be revealed. Kill him. Lu Ming is mine. It's mine. Charge. The experts roared and burst out with powerful auras. Their eyes were red as they charged towards the canyon. If he killed Lu Ming, he would be able to obtain a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure. The temptation was too great. At least dozens of experts at the 6th level spiritual god realm and above rushed into the large canyon. At the same time, attacks burst out and blasted toward the ground, trying to force Lu Ming out of the ground. All of you die. Underground, Xiaofan's eyes were cold. With a wave of his hands, countless inscriptions glowed in the valley, and a peerless killing formation appeared, filled with murderous intent. Streaks of terrifying sword chi appeared and destroyed the attacks of these experts. The terrifying aura of the formation made everyone's heart turn cold and their souls tremble. Not good. It's a peerless killing formation. We've been tricked. Retreat, retreat, retreat. These experts went crazy as they frantically tried to escape. However, it was too late. Whoosh, whoosh. The terrifying sword chi was killing at a speed that was faster than the naked eye could see. Screams rang out. Those experts below the 9th level of the spiritual god realm were killed in an instant, and their blood and chi soared into the sky. Even the 9 experts in the 9th level of the spiritual god realm could not resist for a few breaths before they were killed one by one. In the end, there were only 4 great circle spiritual god stage experts left. Let's work together. Let's work together and charge out. We've been tricked. Lu Ming has the help of an expert. We've been deceived. We've been deceived by the imperial family. With furious roars, the 4 great circle spiritual god stage experts wanted to join forces and charge out. However, this great formation had been greatly improved and its power was too great. The 4 great circle spiritual god stage experts tried their best to break through, but to their despair, they found that they were unable to break out. The 4 of them didn't last long before their defenses were broken by the sharp sword chi. 10,000 swords pierced through their hearts and they died on the spot. Dozens of experts at the 6th level spiritual god realm and above were completely annihilated. It was especially so for those powers that had fallen in the great circle of the spiritual god stage. It would definitely be a huge loss. The great circle of the spiritual god realm was second only to the Supremes. There would not be many great circle spiritual gods in any faction. The death of one would be a great loss. Bang! Lu Ming dashed toward the ground and reached the ground in an instant. As soon as he reached the ground, Xiaofan transformed into a ball of demonic chi and enveloped the expert's corpse. Senior, please leave a few for me. Lu Ming shouted. He was envious to see so many spiritual god powerhouses, especially the few who had cultivated the earth concept. Lu Ming dashed toward the few experts who had cultivated the earth concept. Xiaofan had intentionally allowed Lu Ming to benefit from this. He did not touch the few people that Lu Ming had his eyes on, while the rest were shrouded in demonic chi and became Xiaofan's nourishment. Lu Ming controlled the 9-dragon bloodline and rushed to the front of an 8th level spiritual god realm expert. He opened his mouth and inhaled, and devouring power burst forth, devouring the expert's vital essence, blood essence and runes. Immediately after, Lu Ming rushed to another one and continued to devour. Lu Ming had devoured 3 experts in the 8th level of the spiritual god realm, all of whom were experts who cultivated the earth concept. After devouring the 3 masters, the 9-dragon bloodlines swelled up and were filled with boundless and terrifying energy. Xiaofan did not collect the experts' storage rings. They all flew toward Lu Ming and were put away. Lu Ming's heart was burning. There were so many powerful people. How much wealth would they have? Lu Ming, let's go. We have to leave this place first. Demonic chi surged around Xiaofan as he wrapped Lu Ming in it and flew into the distance. The commotion here would soon be known by others, and they would definitely attract powerful experts. Xiaofan carried Lu Ming and traveled 1,000 miles in an instant. Before long, they had traveled millions of miles. Lu Ming rushed into the belly of a huge mountain and entered the mountain and river diagram. He sat cross-legged and began to refine the energy that he had just devoured. The energy of 3 8th level spiritual gods was too vast and boundless. It was constantly transformed into true essence, and Lu Ming's cultivation began to improve rapidly. Middle stage 3rd level spiritual god realm, late stage 3rd level spiritual god realm. The intent runes were also being refined continuously. Before long, Lu Ming's earth intent had successfully broken through the bottleneck and entered the lower tier of level 4. It was still slowly improving. Moreover, some of them had comprehended the concept of fire. This allowed Lu Ming's concept of fire to improve. As for the blood essence of the 3 experts, Lu Ming used all of them to upgrade the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. Not long after, the 8th golden chakra emerged on the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline. It was a little dim at first, but it gradually became bright. After a few hours, Lu Ming finally finished refining the energy and blood essence of the 3 8th level spiritual god realm experts. Lu Ming's body rippled with a powerful aura. It was several times stronger than before. 4th level of the spiritual god realm. Chapter 1157, Killing the Heavenly Sword Faction. With the breakthrough of the Earth concept, Lu Ming's 5 types of concepts had already reached the lower tier of the 4th level. Therefore, with a huge amount of energy that he had devoured, he broke through in one go and entered the 4th level spiritual god realm. Lu Ming's abilities had increased by a huge margin. Lu Ming put away the 9 dragons' bloodline and opened his eyes. He saw Xiaofan standing not far away, looking at him in surprise. The bloodline of the 9 dragons is indeed magical and heaven-defying. Xiaofan sighed. The reason why he could constantly improve his strength with the help of strong cultivators' tonics was that he had already reached his original strength and realm. However, he was still weak after being suppressed for many years and needed the blood essence of strong cultivators to recover. He had only recovered, but Lu Ming had improved and broken through. There was no comparison at all. Senior, how much strength have you recovered? Lu Ming changed the topic and asked. With my current strength, I should have no problem fighting a supreme martial artist. Xiaofan said. He can fight an autarch. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. The stronger Xiaofan was, the better it would be for him. Senior, do you still want to do something big? Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was a little tempted. Didn't the experts from the Overlord forces want to kill him? In that case, he would retaliate. Most importantly, Xiaofan did not seem to be interested in these people's storage rings, but Lu Ming needed them. Although Lu Ming had yet to take stock of the items in the storage rings, they were all experts at the 6th level spiritual god realm and above. The value of the items in them was definitely shocking. Lu Ming's heart was burning with excitement. Haha, your thoughts are the same as mine. I also want to do something big. Xiaofan laughed arrogantly. Senior, I'm afraid it'll be very difficult to kill the enemy with a formation like the previous one. The others will definitely be on guard after seeing the traces left behind by the previous battle. It'll be very difficult to do it again. Lu Ming frowned, thinking about how to make a big move. It's fine. Let's change our method. Isn't there a branch of the Heavenly Martial Sword faction nearby? I can sense that there's something I need in this division. Xiaofan said, a hint of hope in his eyes. Attack the Heavenly Sword faction's division? Senior, I'm afraid that there are supreme martial artists in this division. Lu Ming's expression was grave. Although Xiaofan had the ability to fight against a supreme being, the supreme being of the Heavenly Sword sect was in charge of the distribution and controlled the geographical advantage. It was not easy to kill him. If he was not careful, he might end up getting himself killed. If I were a bit stronger, I would be confident. There's something very important to me in that division. If I can get it, I'll be able to recover my strength quickly. Then I won't have to hide anymore. Xiaofan said, frowning. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. Suddenly, his palm glowed and a small pagoda appeared in his palm. An emperor's spiritual weapon. Xiaofan's eyes glowed when he saw the pagoda. Senior, if I were to lend you this emperor's spiritual weapon for the time being, would you be confident? Lu Ming said. Yes, I do. Although this emperor's spiritual weapon doesn't match my attributes and I can't fully unleash its power, it's still an emperor's spiritual weapon. It's enough to increase my strength by a large margin and attack that division. Xiaofan said. All right, I'll lend it to Senior. Lu Ming waved his hand and the small tower flew towards Xiaofan. If he didn't make a prompt decision, it would lead to chaos. This was what Xiaofan had sensed when Lu Ming and the rest had passed by. Soon, a sword peak that reached the sky appeared in front of him. The mountain peak was like a sword that seemed to be able to reach the sky. From a distance, one could feel the powerful sword power spreading out. There seemed to be a demonic light flickering in Xiaofan's eyes, as if he could see through everything. The Tianwu sword faction's distribution is not simple. They seem to be secretly studying something related to demons. Xiaofan muttered. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The Tianwu sword sect was actually researching something related to demons. That was why Xiaofan had chosen this place. Buzz! With Lu Ming in tow, Xiaofan took a step forward and appeared in the sky above the heavenly sword edge. Who is it? This is the Heavenly Sword faction's assignment. Unrelated people, get lost. As soon as they appeared, the experts on the heaven-connecting sword peak sensed them and let out a loud shout with a cold killing intent. The person who will kill you. You're courting death. Xiaofan said coldly. A small red pagoda appeared in his hand and rapidly enlarged until it finally turned into a giant pagoda that reached the sky. It was comparable to the sword blade that reached the sky. A scorching aura emanated from it, and a light shield-like object emerged from it. It was scarlet in color and exuded an astonishing temperature. Is this a domain? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with amazement. An emperor's intent would evolve into a domain, and an emperor's spiritual weapon would also contain a domain, which was extremely terrifying. Fire domain. Not good. It's an emperor. An emperor is attacking. Activate the formation. Activate the formation. As soon as the king's spiritual weapon was taken out, the heaven-connecting sword was in chaos and screams of fear could be heard. Suppress! With a wave of his hand, Xiaofan's abundant genuine vitality poured into the fiery pagoda, which pressed down on the heavenly sword. At this moment, countless inscriptions appeared around the heaven-reaching sword blade, forming a large formation. A beam of sword chi shot up and blasted toward the small red tower. Boom! With an earth-shattering explosion, the sword chi was destroyed. The giant tower suppressed everything and smashed hard on the mountain-protecting formation of the heavenly sword peak. The great mountain-protecting formation shook violently and almost collapsed. Suppress! Xiaofan bellowed as he continued to control the pagoda. This time, with a deafening boom, the protective formation of the heavenly sword peak was broken. The formation was broken and the giant tower hit the peak. The entire sword peak shook violently and then exploded. At this moment, the sword peak was filled with screams. Countless disciples of the Sky Martial Sword faction screamed as they were turned into ashes by the terrifying energy. Even some powerful high-level spiritual gods spat out mouthfuls of blood and were severely injured. Who are you? The Heavenly Martial Sword faction will definitely kill you. An angry roar was heard, and a bright sword light shot up from the bottom of the sword peak, as if it was going to split the world in half. This was a supreme. The person who will kill you. Demonic chi rolled around Xiaofan like a peerless demonic god. He controlled the Emperor's spiritual weapon to suppress his opponent. At the same time, Xiaofan strode forward. His muscles bulged, and a demonic light that seemed to contain infinite power emerged. Boom! He threw a punch, and the space was smashed into pieces. Chapter 1158 Sword Emperor. The supreme martial artist of the Tianwu Sword School let out a long roar. His sword power was vast and mighty, shattering the sky. He slashed out a shocking sword light, which hit the giant pagoda and stopped it. However, on the other side, Xiaofan's demonic fist arrived again. Endless sword chi floated around the supreme martial artist of the Tianwu Sword School. It finally gathered into a sword, and like 1,000 swords returning to their roots, it stabbed towards Xiaofan. Boom! Xiaofan's demonic fist struck the sword chi, causing it to shake violently before finally collapsing. Although the supreme martial artist of the Tianwu Sword School was strong, He had to resist the Emperor's spiritual weapon and Xiaofan at the same time. He was already at a disadvantage. Spirit body, you're a spirit body. You're an emperor? Seeing Xiaofan destroy his sword chi with a single punch, the other party immediately cried out in alarm. Kill! Xiaofan bellowed as he strode forward, his demonic fist crushing down on his opponent. Above him, the giant pagoda trembled and continued to suppress the other party. The supreme martial artist from the Heavenly Martial Sword School was shocked. He immediately used the bloodline fusion and transformed into a combat sword. His bloodline was at the 6th level of the divine level, which was equivalent to the clan heads of the 6 great ancient clans of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The bloodline fusion had improved his combat strength, but Xiaofan was unrivaled. His immortal demonic body was terrifying. If he was at his peak, he could crush an emperor. Boom! Boom! Xiaofan's demonic fist continued to strike out. At the same time, the giant pagoda also came down. The flame domain in the giant pagoda enveloped the supreme being of the Tianwu Sword School, causing him to be suppressed by the terrifyingly high temperature. Although the supreme martial artist from the Heavenly Martial Sword School tried his best to slash out a shocking sword chi, it was still useless. He was suppressed and had less and less power to fight back. Go, all of you, quickly go and inform the sect leader. The supreme martial artist from the Heavenly Martial Sword faction roared. Some of the higher stage spiritual god realm warriors who were still alive looked at the battle in the sky in horror. The supreme martial artist of the Heavenly Martial Sword School was actually at a complete disadvantage and could be defeated at any time. Let's go! Some people flew away, trying to escape and inform the Emperor of the Heavenly Martial Sword School. Don't even think about leaving. Dang! Xiaofan's demonic chi soared to the sky as he punched out a fist radiance that pierced through the void for thousands of miles. A few spirit god experts were instantly enveloped by the fist radiance and killed mercilessly. Clang! Clang! Xiaofan's demonic fist continued to bombard the sword, causing the sword to tremble. Originally, Xiaofan's current battle strength wasn't any weaker than his opponent's, and with the help of the Emperor's spirit weapon, Xiaofan's strength was far above his opponent. After more than 10 punches, the sword collapsed, revealing the true body of the man who was retreating in horror. Boom! The giant pagoda pressed down, and the other party tried his best to block it. However, he was still knocked by the giant pagoda and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Xiaofan rushed over and punched his opponent's chest. His opponent screamed as his chest was pierced through. A large hole appeared, and his heart was shattered. His opponent's dantian glowed, and his spiritual god rushed out in an attempt to escape. However, Xiaofan grabbed his spiritual god and crushed it with a sudden squeeze. His spiritual god was crushed into a stream of energy that Xiaofan absorbed. A supreme martial artist had been killed by Xiaofan just like that. Boom! The giant tower glowed and enveloped the entire branch of the Heavenly Martial Sword faction. The remaining members of the Heavenly Martial Sword faction were all killed. Not a single one was left. Xiaofan transformed into demonic chi and enveloped all the experts of the Heavenly Sword sect, becoming his tonic. Save some for me. Lu Ming flew at top speed, collecting the storage rings one by one. Unfortunately, those experts had all become Xiaofan's tonics, not leaving a single one for him. What a pity! Lu Ming cried out. However, he had just devoured 3 8th-level spiritual god realm experts and there were impurities in them. He needed some time to polish them and stabilize his foundation. If he continued devouring, his foundation might become even more unstable. At the thought of this, Lu Ming felt relieved and continued to collect the storage rings. Not long after, Lu Ming had put away all the storage rings. However, Xiaofan did not give Lu Ming the supreme martial artist's storage ring. He kept it for himself. The supreme martial artist's wealth must have tempted Xiaofan. Boom! After absorbing all the tonics, Xiaoluan transformed into a human and punched the ground. A shocking demonic chi shot up into the sky from the ground, and a terrible pressure spread out. Why do I feel like I'm facing the demon empress? Lu Ming was shocked. Could it be that a demon emperor was hiding underground? How was this possible? As expected, the Heavenly Martial Sword School is very ambitious. They're actually secretly making a demon fetus. Xiaofan muttered to himself, an ecstatic smile on his face. Senior, what is a demon fetus? Lu Ming came to Xiaofan's side and looked down. Demonic qi filled the air underground. A tall human-shaped figure could be vaguely seen in the demonic qi. The rolling demonic qi was coming from this figure. The Tianwu sword sect must have obtained the corpse of a fallen demon emperor, and then refined it with a special method. In the end, it can be refined into a powerful existence under the Tianwu sword sect's command. This existence is the demon fetus. Once it's refined, it will have the combat power of an emperor. It seems that the Tianwu sword sect is far from finished refining it, and now it's all mine. After refining this demon fetus, my strength can be restored to the emperor realm. Xiaofan laughed and transformed into a ball of demonic qi. It flew down and wrapped around the tall figure, and began to refine it. Lu Ming could only wait at the side. Soon, half an hour had passed. Sila! In the sky, the space was suddenly torn open, and a middle-aged man in a white robe with a sword on his back stepped out of the spatial crack. The middle-aged man looked around as soon as he stepped out of the spatial crack. Suddenly, a sword power that seemed to be able to destroy the world burst out and cover the territory within a radius of 10,000 miles. The Emperor! It's the Emperor! Lu Ming's pupils contracted sharply. He was extremely shocked. He knew that the Emperor of the Heavenly Martial Sword School had arrived. This was a sword emperor that could slash the world with his sword. The Emperor of the Heavenly Martial Sword faction looked at Lu Ming, but his gaze only swept past him and landed on the ball of demonic qi on the ground. I don't care who you are. Since you dared to destroy one of my Heavenly Sword faction's divisions, you won't be able to leave today. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the Emperor of the Heavenly Martial Sword School waved his hand, and a dazzling sword qi shot toward Xiaofan. The power of the sword qi was several times stronger than that of the Supreme Being. Haha, a junior dares to be impudent in front of me. Within the demonic qi, a loud laugh came out. A jet-black fist radiance flew out and collided with the sword qi. The fist radiance and the sword qi collided, stirring up an endless energy storm. All the mountains and mountains within a radius of 10,000 miles were swept by the energy storm, directly cracking and exploding into pieces. With one move, he destroyed the mountains and rivers within a radius of 10,000 miles. A battle between emperors was too terrifying. It could destroy the heavens and earth. Although Lu Ming was under the protection of Xiaofan's demonic aura, he was still shocked by the power. The power of an emperor is indeed shocking. It's far from what I can match now. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Whoosh! Endless demonic qi rolled, and Xiaofan's figure flickered in and out of sight. A supreme aura emanated from his body. The royal family's Xie family has spread the news to the world and activated the Heaven Secrets instrument in order to capture Lu Ming. However, I have a feeling that it's not that simple. I just happened to come out of seclusion, so I came out for a walk. I sensed a strong fluctuation here, so I rushed over to take a look. The Thunder Saber Emperor explained. He looked around and said, Wuxia, this should be one of your Heavenly Sword faction's branches, right? It seems that the branch has been destroyed. You were the one fighting with the other party just now, right? Where was he? Why, even you can't make him stay? They've already left. The Wuxia Sword Emperor said. Who is it? The remaining demonic qi here is extremely shocking. Could it be the Demon Emperor of the Demon Mountain? The Thunderblade Emperor's eyes flashed as he asked tentatively. Martial Emperor Wuxia pondered for a while and said, It's not the Demon Emperor from Demon Mountain. You won't be able to guess who this person is even in your dreams. Who is it? The Thunder Saber Emperor asked curiously when he saw Martial Emperor Wuxia's serious face. Xiaofan, Sovereign of Chaotic Heavens, Xiaofan. Wu Ju and Wu Huang said each word clearly. What? Even with the Thunder Saber Emperor's mental fortitude, he was still stunned at this moment. He was dumbfounded and in disbelief. Wuxia, are you seeing things or are you just joking with me? Xiaofan, the Xiaofan of 30,000 years, how could he still be alive? The Thunderblade Emperor said in disbelief. Do I look like I'm joking? The Wuxia Sword Emperor said coldly. The Thunder Saber Emperor fell silent. His eyes flickered as if he was thinking about something. After a while he said, "If it's really Xiaofan, I'm afraid the Imperial family will be in chaos. I know why the Imperial family activated the Heaven Secrets instrument. Their target is not Lu Ming, but Xiaofan. That's most likely the case. Moreover, Xiaofan hasn't recovered to his peak state yet. He's not even my match." Wu Ju and Wu Huang said. "If that's the case, do you have any way to track Xiaowan's qi? We'll follow him and see what he's going to do next." The Thunder Martial Emperor said. Xiaowan used a disciple of the Heavenly Martial Sword sect as a tonic to recover his demonic body. His presence hasn't been completely eliminated yet, so I can use a secret technique to pursue him. That's good. I'll go and see what Xiaowan is up to. Sword Emperor Wuxia said. He began to use a secret technique to capture Xiaowan's aura. Xiaowan brought Lu Ming across the space several times before stopping. I still haven't recovered to the Emperor realm. I'm still a little weaker than that kid. Xiaowan said. That kid, he was referring to Sword Emperor Wuxia. Senior is still not a match for the Emperor. Lu Ming asked. I can barely fight. Ordinary emperors can't do anything to me. With your Emperor's spiritual weapon, I can fight ordinary emperors. However, if we fight for a long time, it'll be disadvantageous to me. Now that my identity has been exposed, I'm afraid that all the emperors in the world will find ways to find us. It'll be very disadvantageous for us next. Xiaowan said. Although he said this, a cold smile still hung on his face. Senior, do you have any good moves? Seeing Xiaowan's expression, Lu Ming knew that Xiaowan had an idea. Didn't the royal family use all their strength to hunt us down? Then I'll make sure the royal family doesn't have the mind to hunt us down. In fact, I'll make the divine wilderness continent fall into chaos and attack each other. This way, I'll have time to recover. Xiaowan said. Cause the divine wilderness continent to descend into chaos? Attacking each other? Lu Ming was secretly shocked, but he was also full of doubts. What method did Xiaowan have to cause the world to be in chaos and attack each other? I have a Heavenly King's token with me. It once belonged to the royal family. As long as I take out this Heavenly King's token, it's enough to make those royal warriors go crazy. Lu Ming, let's go to the holy city. The show is about to start. Xiaowan laughed and tore open space with Lu Ming, heading for the holy city. Lu Ming comes to the holy city. In a hidden hall in the sacred city, a round ball was floating in the air, emitting a bright light. Inscriptions appeared and glowed on the ball. If Lu Ming was here, he would be able to recognize that the ball was exactly the same as the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument floating above his head. This was the Heaven Secrets instrument's main body. In the sky above the Heaven Secrets device, there was a huge array board that was emitting a mysterious light. Around the Heaven Secrets instrument, there were a dozen people standing quietly and observing. Suddenly, the Heaven Secrets instrument began to shine, and a dot of light appeared on the disk array above it. More than a dozen people at the scene were alarmed. The Heaven Secrets instrument has sensed something. The array disk has a light spot. Lu Ming has appeared. He's within 1,000,000 miles. An old man called out in disbelief. Shouldn't Lu Ming be hiding somewhere far away? How could he still dare to appear within 1,000,000 miles of the sacred city? Look, he's quickly approaching the holy city. He's approaching the holy city. The others all exclaimed in disbelief. The disk array showed that the dot of light was rapidly approaching the holy city. This meant that Lu Ming was heading toward the holy city. Quick, spread the news. The old man in the lead said. Then, they all took out their jade voice transmission talismans and sent the news out. In fact, there was no need for them to spread the news. In the holy city, some people had sensed the Heaven Secrets energy field array disk and discovered this at the same time. Lu Ming was actually approaching the holy city at a high speed. Many experts in the sacred city were alarmed. More powerful cultivators from the royal family and the Xie family were alarmed. They flew out from all directions toward the eastern city wall of the holy city. According to the array disk, Lu Ming was coming from the east and would be close to the eastern city wall. For a moment, wind and clouds gathered on the eastern wall of the sacred city. Many experts arrived, and the city wall was filled with people. They're coming, they're almost there. Some people looked at the disk array and realized that the dot of light was getting closer and closer to the sacred city. Not long after, a black-robed young man with long hair casually draped over his shoulders flew over from the distant sky. Lu Ming, it was Lu Ming. At this moment, the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument was suspended above Lu Ming's head, shining brightly. Earlier, Xiaofan had brought Lu Ming along and tore through space in the direction of the Holy City. When they were within 1,000,000 miles of the Holy City, Xiaofan undid the seal on the door of seals and released the projection of the Heaven Secrets instrument. Then, it entered Lu Ming's spine and disappeared. As for Lu Ming, he was stepping in the air and heading towards the Holy City. At that moment, everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming. I didn't expect Lu Ming to come to the Holy City. Isn't this like sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth? Could it be that he knows that he can't escape, so he came to turn himself in? It's possible. It's strange. I remember that during the 1,000,000-year sacrifice, Lu Ming took the initiative to enter the Abyss Demon Realm and wanted to take the 16th princess away. Moreover, the royal family even tried to kill us, and they even offered us a heavenly treasure like the Heavenly Secrets instrument. Everyone is curious about this, let alone you. However, many of the royal family's higher-ups do not know the exact reason, let alone us. However, there is one thing that we can be sure of. Lu Ming must have done something extraordinary to cause the royal family and the Xie family to be in such a state. Some of the powerhouses from the other forces were secretly discussing, but no one made a move. Lu Ming stood in the air 100 miles away from the city wall. Lu Ming, how dare you break out of the Abyss Demon territory without permission? You've committed a terrible crime and should be executed by 1,000 cuts. A gloomy voice sounded. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice. It was Xie Zhen. Lu Ming cast a casual glance at Xie Zhen and sneered. It's ridiculous. I entered the Abyss Demon territory of my own will, and I can leave and stay as I please. Besides, Xie Qiqian is obviously trying to keep me in the Abyss Demon territory for the rest of my life by getting those points. He even made it sound so grand. What a despicable man. How dare you? How dare you slander my father? I'm going to kill your entire family. No one can save you today. Xie Zhen berated loudly with an air of superiority. Oh, all right, in terms of age, you're older than me. Make your move, come and kill me. Lu Ming said. You. Xie Zhen was stunned. Humph, a loser, a piece of trash. Do you dare to make a move? I can suppress you with one finger. Lu Ming said loudly, his voice full of disdain. Xie Zhen's face was completely red. In terms of age, he was of the same generation as Lu Ming and he was even older than Lu Ming. However, he did not dare to fight Lu Ming. Lu Ming could probably suppress him with one finger. Lu Ming. At this time, a cold voice sounded. The voice was clear and pleasant to the ears, but it was filled with a faint sense of pride. A peerless beauty in a snow-white dress with a milky white radiance emanating from her body stepped through the air. She was incomparably holy, like a fairy from the 9 heavens descending to the mortal world. Her body bloomed with holy light, and with every step she took, a milky white lotus flower would appear in the sky, supporting her feet. 9th Princess. Thank you, Nianjuan. Many people's eyes were attracted by this figure. She was Xian Nianjuan, one of the 5 beauties of the central continent and ranked second among the 5 young tycoons. This proud daughter of the heavens, a proud daughter of the heavens who had gathered thousands of halos on her. Lu Ming's gaze also fell on her. Her appearance was very similar to Xian Yanqing's, but her temperament was completely different. Lu Ming had long known that Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had the same father but not the same mother. It was amazing that they looked so similar. Xian Yanjuan stepped into the air and stood in front of the crowd. He looked at Lu Ming and said in a cold and arrogant voice, Lu Ming, you were the one who took Xian Yanqing away, right? Hand her over, the variant of the Xie family with a lowly and dirty bloodline. She will guard the demon area of hell forever and hunt down the Masha clan for the Xie family to compensate for what she owes the Xie family. Ha ha ha, laughable, truly laughable. Xian Yanjuan's words made Lu Ming burst out laughing uncontrollably. You're saying that Nianqing owes your Xie family? You really know how to distort the truth. In my opinion, it's your Xie family that owes Nianqing, and you won't be able to pay it back in your lifetime. Lu Ming laughed out loud. Her bloodline has tarnished the reputation of the royal Xie family. What else does she owe the Xie family? Xian Yanjuan said with a frown. Dogs hit. All of you are fucking bullshit. A bunch of self-righteous people. What is your Xie family? What was the royal family? No wonder the ancient Saint dynasty has become so weak. To be controlled by such a group of short-sighted people, it would be strange if they aren't weak. In my opinion, the ancient Saint dynasty should be destroyed. Lu Ming shouted loudly, his voice spreading throughout the entire venue. Especially the last sentence, the ancient Saint dynasty shall be destroyed, which made many people's hearts tremble. He was too bold. He was simply too audacious. Lu Ming actually dared to say such words in public. This was an insult to the royal Xie family and a slap to their face. Sure enough, many people from the imperial family and the Xie family went crazy. Their faces turned red as they angrily rebuked. Xian Yanqing versus Xian Yanjuan. Audacious, impudent, and arrogant. He's looking for death. Let me kill him. Let me cripple him and let him taste the most painful punishment in the world. The imperial family's Xie clan's people shouted in anger, releasing cold killing intent. Boom! Xian Yanjuan's body exploded with a shocking aura. Her beautiful eyes were filled with killing intent. The powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming as she said in a cold voice. Lu Ming, saving your life back then was the biggest mistake I've ever made. But it's fine. It's the same if I kill you today. You? It might not be enough. Lu Ming gave a contemptuous smile. Xian Yanjuan's cultivation was very strong. He was at the peak of the third level of the spiritual god realm. His aura was powerful and his body contained a terrifying amount of energy. Lu Ming felt that he was even stronger than Dark Child. If Lu Ming were to fight her during the million-year sacrifice, he would not have the confidence to win. But now, he didn't care about Xian Yanjuan. Humph, Lu Ming, don't think that you're the best in the world just because you defeated Dark Child. If I had made a move back then, I would have been able to suppress you. Xian Yanjuan took another step forward. His aura was powerful, and his body glowed with a milky white light, making him look even more holy and noble. Could it be that Xian Yanjuan is going to fight Lu Ming? Many people's eyes were filled with anticipation. In the million-year national sacrifice, Lu Ming had defeated many powerful figures in a row, showing his invincible attitude. In the end, when he faced Long Chen, Lu Ming admitted defeat directly. Many people regretted that they did not see who was the strongest. Xian Yanjuan did not take part in that battle. This caused many people to discuss in secret, comparing Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming to guess who was stronger. After all, Xian Yanqing was ranked second among the 5 giants of Central Continent, second only to Long Chen. He had never fought anyone before, so it was hard to tell who was stronger. Was the battle finally about to begin? At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Then, he waved his hand and a ray of light flashed. Xian Yanqing appeared beside Lu Ming. Just now, Xian Yanqing had sent a message to Lu Ming through Dandan, saying that he wanted to come out. Lu Ming had let Xian Yanqing out. This is... Xian Yanqing attracted everyone's attention the moment he came out. In the sacred city, almost everyone's eyes fell on Xian Yanqing, and then on Xian Yanjuan. They were shocked because the two were too similar. Why does this woman look so similar to Xian Yanjuan? They are both devastatingly beautiful. Who is she? I know. It's said that the current Sage Emperor has 3 princesses, all of whom are peerless in their generation. Among them, the 16th princess has been hidden by the royal family because she was born with a foreign bloodline. This girl should be the 16th princess. It should be. The 3 princesses of the current Sage Emperor are truly devastatingly beautiful. This 16th princess's beauty is not inferior to the 5 great beauties at all. I wonder how her martial arts talent is? A wave of discussion came from the surroundings. Many people had long heard of the name of the 16th princess, but not many had actually seen her in person, so they were naturally surprised. So, you really did leave the Abyss Demon territory with him. Now, surrender and go back to the Abyss Demon territory. Stay here and hunt the Fiend clan for the rest of your life. Don't even think about wandering outside and embarrassing the royal family. Xian Yanjuan looked at Xian Yanqing coldly. Xian Yanqing's face was cold as he stared at Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan, you don't have to put on that arrogant face. You've been loved by everyone since you were a child and you've been surrounded by halos. What a joke. Today, I'm going to stomp you under my feet and let the world see how weak your so-called holiness and so-called orthodoxy are. As Xian Yanqing's voice rang out, endless demonic qi surged from her body and her powerful aura clashed with Xian Yanjuan's. If you want to fight me, then I'll fulfill your wish. Xian Yanjuan said coldly. A milky white pillar of holy light rose from his body. At the same time, a black demonic qi rose from Xian Yanqing's body. One black and one white, the two beams of light collided in the air. Boom! The clouds in the sky were scattered, and a strong wind swept through. Let's go up and fight, Xian Yanqing said as he flew into the sky. Xian Yanjuan's eyes were cold as he too flew into the sky. One black and one white, the two light shadows collided and tore the space into pieces. Sky Devil Force Field. 9 Heavens Holy Domain. Two delicate yells rang out as the two of them displayed their unique skills and fought in the air. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than a dozen blows. The attacks of Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were very similar, but one was of the demonic Dao, while the other was of the holy Dao. Black lotus flowers appeared around Xian Yanqing and turned into lotus swords. As for Xian Yanjuan, milky white lotus flowers appeared around him. They also transformed into sword radiances and fought with Xian Yanqing. The sword qi soared into the sky and the light was bright. For a moment, the two were locked in a fierce battle. The spectators all took in a cold breath and were extremely shocked. She's so strong. The 16th princess is so strong. She can actually fight with the 9th princess. That's scary. It turns out that the Princess 16, who has been hidden all this time, is also a peerless talent. She's too strong. She's definitely a heaven's favorite at the level of a giant. The royal family's generation is really full of talents. It's rare to see two giants in one sect. I really don't get it. A heaven's favorite with unparalleled talent like him is being suppressed by the imperial family and the Xie clan. If any other power had a heaven's favorite like him, they would do everything they could to nurture him. He'd be an unrivaled emperor in the future. The sound of discussion spread out, especially into the ears of the imperial family's Xie family. It was exceptionally harsh. Humph, what's the use of a mutant's talent? He should be suppressed, forever suppressed, or else he'll be a traitor. Xie Zhen coldly snorted. He gritted his teeth in his heart, but there was a trace of fear in his eyes. Xian Yanqing was too talented. The more talented he was, the more afraid he was and the more he wanted Xian Yanqing to die. As he mulled over this, Xie Zhen's gaze fell on Lu Ming. It was all because of Lu Ming. He had no idea what method Lu Ming had used to save Xian Yanqing from the Abyss Demon realm. Lu Ming, I advise you to surrender. You won't be able to escape today. Surrender and I'll give you a quick death, Xie Zhen said, killing intent flashing in his eyes. All right, you can make your move. If you can take one of my moves, I'll surrender. Lu Ming said contemptuously. You. Don't be so arrogant, Xie Zhen angrily rebuked. Lu Ming, I'll take you down. There's no need for the 8th prince to do anything. I'll kill you. A middle-aged brawny man stepped out. He had a powerful aura and his eyes were cold. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this was an expert at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. All right, Venerable Su, capture Lu Ming for me and you'll be heavily rewarded. Xie Zhen was overjoyed as he said. The brawny man was the royal family's venerable guardian. He was powerful and had a cultivation of the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. If he were to take action, Lu Ming would be taken down with 100% certainty. You want to make a move? Fine. Get over here and accept your death, Lu Ming said contemptuously. Defeating an 8th-level spiritual god. It's easy for young people to die young if they're so arrogant. Venerable Su's eyes were cold. He took a few steps forward and approached Lu Ming rapidly. The aura on his body grew stronger and stronger. Buzz! A soft whip appeared in his hand. It was covered with hooks and glinted coldly under the sunlight. With a wave of his hand, the soft whip grew rapidly until it was more than 10 miles long. Like a venomous snake, it rolled towards Lu Ming. The soft whip cut through the air, making an ear-piercing sound, and a hideous crack appeared in the space. In the face of such an attack, Lu Ming's expression was calm. His body swayed slightly and he dodged the attack. He stepped forward and charged toward Venerable Su. You can't escape. Inescapable net. 10,000 heavy kill. Venerable Su bellowed as he lashed out with his soft whip. Like a real dragon circling in the air, it transformed into layers of whip shadows that wrapped around Lu Ming like an inescapable net, sealing off all his escape routes. Why would I need to escape? Just break it. A calm voice rang out. From within Lu Ming's body, a dragon's roar could be heard. His essential core boiled as he threw a punch. Boom! This punch seemed to push the entire space forward, causing it to explode. A terrifying fist force rushed towards the heavy whip shadows. Those whip shadows collapsed instantly, turning into fragments that scattered in all directions, just like a broken tree branch. The terrifying power even followed the soft whip and rushed towards Venerable Su. His expression changed greatly, and his body trembled as he retreated. Buzz! A figure flashed and suddenly appeared in front of him. Not good. Venerable Su's heart trembled and he subconsciously threw a punch. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Boom! Once again, Lu Ming threw a punch as fast as lightning. It hit Venerable Su's chest. Arg! Venerable Su screamed in despair as his entire body exploded. Even his spiritual god wasn't spared. The devouring power burst out and enveloped Venerable Su. His essence, energy, and spirit were all devoured by Lu Ming. Your lackey is dead. Aren't you going to fight personally? Lu Ming was cold and indifferent as he looked at Xiaofan with disdain. This made Xiaofan grit his teeth, but in his heart, he was also extremely shocked. An expert at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm was actually killed by Lu Ming so easily. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying, right? The expressions of the other spectators also changed drastically. Lu Ming's abilities have improved greatly since the million-year sacrificial ceremony. Such shocking talent is rare. Xian Yanjuan is no match for him now. I wonder how he'll fare against Long Chen. I don't know, but it's a pity. No matter how talented Lu Ming is, no matter how powerful he is, the result is already set. Don't forget, this is the holy city. Even if an emperor came, he might not be able to leave, let alone Lu Ming. While many people were shocked by Lu Ming's combat strength and talent, they also felt sorry for him. This was the holy city. No matter how strong Lu Ming was, the outcome was already decided. To have such cultivation and battle prowess at your age is something that has rarely been seen since ancient times. I truly admire you. If you swear a blood oath and surrender to the Imperial Xia clan, I'll plead with the Saint Emperor and spare your life. What do you say? A white-haired old man stepped into the air and walked toward Lu Ming, looking like a sage. His body emitted a terrifying aura that was several times stronger than that of Venerable Su. Peak 8th level spiritual god realm. There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes. The white-haired old man did not hide his cultivation at all. Lu Ming could tell at a glance. You're only at the 8th level of the spiritual god realm. Do you have the right to ask the sage emperor to spare me? You really think too highly of yourself. Lu Ming pursed his lips casually and said in disdain. This is at least a chance, isn't it? If you refuse, you won't even stand a chance. Being looked down upon by Lu Ming, a sharp glint flashed in the white-haired elder's eyes as he spoke in a deep voice. Hee, just you? I'm afraid he's not qualified. Lu Ming smiled, his disdain growing. How arrogant. You won't stand a chance if I attack. The white-haired old man's eyes were filled with anger. His body emitted a milky white light and his eyes were cold. Although Lu Ming had easily killed a 7th-level spiritual god expert, he was at the peak of the 8th-level spiritual god realm. He was much stronger than a 7th-level spiritual god and could easily kill a 7th-level spiritual god expert. Therefore, he was confident that he could suppress Lu Ming. After all, Lu Ming was young. No matter how strong he was, it would not be too outrageous. Whoosh! A beam of white sword light bloomed from the white-haired elder's hand, piercing through the vast sky and heading toward Lu Ming. This sword was sharp, ruthless, stunning, and terrifying. With just one strike, he was already stronger than Venerable Su, who was at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. A dragon's roar resounded from within Lu Ming's body. The third bloodline emerged on top of his head, and a surge of energy surged into Lu Ming's body, causing his strength to increase explosively. Bang! He took a step forward and struck out with his palm. The power of the palm was shocking. It broke through the sky and formed a terrifying palm blade that slashed at the old man's white sword light. Buzz! There was a sharp explosion and the white sword gleam dissipated. Lu Ming rushed toward the old man. The old man's expression changed slightly. The long sword in his hand was constantly thrust out, and streams of snow-white sword light, like brilliant crystal lights, were aimed at Lu Ming. The sword gleams were dense and endless as they poured toward Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Lu Ming clenched his fists and continued to bombard them. Lu Ming's fist seemed to have turned into a prison-suppressing steel that suppressed everything. A series of explosions rang out in the sky. The white-haired elder's sword gleams were continuously being destroyed. Lu Ming charged up against the sword gleams and charged towards the elder. The white-haired elder's expression changed. It became very ugly and very serious. With a loud shout, his bloodline appeared. He performed the bloodline fusion and turned into a milky white combat sword. With a shake of the combat sword, more and more sharp sword gleams poured toward Lu Ming. Break! The 9 dragons emerged. Lu Ming transformed into the 9 dragons and rushed up, breaking all the sword gleams. The claws of the 9 dragons grabbed the milky white combat sword continuously. The milky white sword shook violently and then collapsed, revealing the white-haired old man's true body. At this moment, the white-haired elder was in a sorry state. He no longer had the sage-like demeanor he had before. His hair was disheveled, his clothes were ragged, and his white robe was covered in blood. His eyes were filled with fear as he desperately rushed towards the city walls of the sacred city. At this moment, in the sacred city, countless people who saw this scene took in a deep breath and were extremely shocked. Even an expert at the peak of the 8th level of the spiritual god realm had been defeated. He was seriously injured by Lu Ming and had to flee for his life in a sorry state. This was simply too unbelievable. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. A youth who was not even 30 years old was able to severely injure an old expert at the 8th level of the spiritual god realm. Such an example was rarely recorded in the divine wilderness continent since ancient times. This had already exceeded common sense and was too terrifying. Now, many people were suspicious whether Long Chen, who was known as the world's #1, was still a match for Lu Ming. In the sky, Xian Yanjuan, who was fighting with Xian Yanqing, naturally sensed this scene. His heart trembled and his eyes revealed a look of disbelief. Lu Ming's combat ability had far surpassed her. As proud as she found it hard to accept. Chapter 1163 Resisting a Supreme Being. You're distracted. Xian Yanqing shouted and launched a storm of attacks, suppressing Xian Yanjuan for a moment. Xian Yanjuan quickly recollected his thoughts and fought with Xian Yanqing. Below, Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons and chased after the white-haired elder. Since you're going out to battle, you should be prepared to be killed. Lu Ming's voice came out of the 9 dragons' mouths as they stepped out with their claws. The 9 dragons' huge bodies were like lightning, unbelievably fast as they approached the white-haired old man. Save me! Seeing that he was about to be caught up by the 9 dragons, the white-haired old man screamed in horror and became hoarse. He was as flustered as a stray dog, and he couldn't care less about his demeanor as a powerful man. At this time, his life was more important. Kill! The 9 dragons roared and stretched out their claws. A powerful force blasted on the white-haired old man's body, almost piercing through it. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and his eyes were even more frightened. "Help!" The white-haired old man screamed with all his might, like a helpless girl facing a group of fierce bandits. "Still not stopping, you're looking for death. You're courting death." A furious roar came from the walls of the sacred city. A tall figure rushed out, and a vast and unfathomable aura exploded. Being enveloped by this aura, everyone felt that it was difficult to breathe. A huge rock was pressing down on their hearts, and they had a feeling that a great disaster was imminent. Supreme Martial Artist. A word emerged in everyone's heart. This was a supreme martial artist. The supreme martial artist of the imperial family had made his move. "Thank you, Qiyu." Lu Ming could tell with a single glance that the person who had attacked was Xie Zhen's imperial uncle, the younger brother of the current sacred emperor, Xie Qiyu. He was a supreme being. "You dare to be impudent in the holy city? I'll cripple you right now." Xie Qiyu's cold voice rang out from his mouth as he sent out a palm strike. A huge palm print formed out of thin air and covered the sky as it flew towards Lu Ming. In front of this palm print, Lu Ming was as small as an ant. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm and there was no fluctuation in his eyes. This was because at this moment, there was a surge of powerful energy flowing into Lu Ming's body. It was Xiaofan's energy. "So what if you're a supreme martial artist? Xie Qiyu, you won't be able to save him today." The 9 dragons howled as they clawed at Xie Tianyu's palm. "What? He dares to take an autarka's attack head-on? He's looking for death, he's looking for death." He had no other choice but to die a heroic death. To die at the hands of a paragon is a life worth living. Many people thought that Lu Ming was at his wit's end and would rather be killed by a supreme martial artist and die a heroic death. Some people even sighed. Was this the end of such a rare genius of the divine wilderness continent? But the next scene made them dumbfounded, their eyes almost popping out. Boom! Boom! When the 9 dragons' dragon claw landed on Xie Qiyu's palm print, the scene of Lu Ming being crushed into pieces that everyone had expected did not appear. On the contrary, when the dragon claw struck out, the heaven and earth shook. Xie Qiyu's palm print was actually pierced through by the 9 dragons' dragon claw and collapsed with a loud bang. This. Everyone was stunned as they looked at the scene in disbelief. Not only did Lu Ming block the Supreme Being's attack, but he had also defeated it. How was this possible? What was going on? Most of the people were completely dumbfounded. Buzz! After destroying Xie Qiyu's palm print, the 9 dragons reached out with their claws again. A huge dragon claw appeared out of thin air above the white-haired old man's head and clawed down. The white-haired old man had almost reached the top of the city wall. He had just heaved a sigh of relief when his pupils suddenly widened. He let out a desperate roar. "No!" Bang! In the next moment, he was crushed to death by the dragon claw. "I've said it before, since you've entered the battle, you must die." The 9 dragons shrank and transformed into Lu Ming's true form. Lu Ming said in a cold voice. Many people gasped, especially Xie Zhen. He felt cold all over and his face was pale as he looked at Lu Ming in fear. A peak 8th level spiritual god realm expert was first severely injured and had to flee for his life in a sorry state. However, with the help of a supreme being, he was still killed by Lu Ming on the spot. How arrogant, how arrogant, how overbearing. "Evil creature, you're looking for death." Xie Qiyu bellowed in rage. His killing intent was incomparably cold and dense, as if it was about to materialize. A terrifying aura filled the air, and the earth-shattering pressure of a supreme being spread towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and retreated quickly. Xie Qiyu's pressure could not stop him at all. "Kill!" Xie Qiyu shouted and was about to launch a lightning-like attack. "Qiyu, stop!" At this moment, a majestic voice rang out. Upon hearing this voice, Xie Qitian was slightly taken aback and stopped. The sky suddenly split open, and 3 figures stepped out from the spatial crack. The person in the lead was tall and burly, exuding boundless majesty. "Saint Emperor! We pay our respects to the sage emperor." Many people quickly saluted. This man was none other than the sage emperor, Xie Qitian. On the left and right of Xie Qitian stood two white-haired elders. Most people had seen them during the million-year sacrificial ceremony. They were also two emperors. The three sovereigns moved out. Many people's hearts trembled. At the same time, they were filled with endless doubts. Was there a need for the sage emperor to personally appear just for Lu Ming? Moreover, there were two other emperors. Xie Qitian and the two sovereigns stepped forward, stopping the battle between Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. "I'll spare you today." Xian Yanjuan glared at Xian Yanqing with killing intent in his eyes. "We still don't know who'll let who off?" Xian Yanqing responded strongly. After that, the two of them left. Xian Yanqing returned to Lu Ming's side while Xian Yanjuan returned to Xie Qitian's side. Xie Qitian looked at Xian Yanqing with a complicated expression. Then, his gaze fell on Lu Ming. With a serious look he said, "Since you're here, why don't you come out? Why are you hiding?" Xie Qitian's words shocked many people. Could it be that Xie Qitian's target was someone else? Demonic qi seeped out of Lu Ming's body. In the end, the demonic qi gathered around him and condensed into a human figure. It was Xiaofan. "There's really someone here." Some of them had an idea. They guessed that Lu Ming's ability to withstand the Supreme Being's attack earlier was related to this person. However, some of them were stunned when they saw Xiaofan. Their eyes widened and their mouths opened wider and wider. In the end, their entire bodies trembled violently. Impossible. How is that possible? Why are they so similar? How did this happen? These people mumbled to themselves, their faces full of disbelief. This was especially so for the royal family Xie family, such as Xie Zhan and Xie Qiyu. It was as if they had seen a ghost, and their eyes widened in horror. Who is this person? Why do the people of the imperial family and the Xie clan seem to be so frightened? Those who had never seen Xie Luan's portrait or statue were full of doubts. However, they soon found out the answer. "Thank you, Chaos." Xie Qitian slowly and heavily spat out two words. The Heavenly King's Order, the Primordial Realm Situation. These two short words were like thousands of thunderbolts exploding in everyone's hearts. Many people were so shocked that they almost jumped up. What? Xiaofan? The Chaotic Sky Emperor? How is that possible? Hadn't the Chaotic Heaven's Divine Warrior already died 30,000 years ago? Why are you still alive? Even if he's not dead, he can't have lived for 30,000 years. What's going on? The sacred city was in a clamor. Everyone was shouting and shouting in disbelief. It was too shocking. Who didn't know of Xiaofan's name in any of the larger factions? Central Continent's current situation was all because of one person, Xiaofan. No one would have believed it if it were not for Xie Qitian's words that a legendary figure, who had long been thought to be dead, had actually reappeared. Ha ha ha, it's been 30,000 years. I didn't expect someone to still remember me. Xiaofan laughed. These words silenced the crowd, and everyone turned to look at Xiaofan. This person was really Xiaofan. How can this be? Xiaofan has reappeared. Is the world going to be in chaos again? Many people had the same thought. There were also some people who thought of more. They finally knew why the royal Xie family had activated the celestial mystery instrument to capture Lu Ming, and why they had offered a tribulation-transcending heavenly treasure as a reward. It was because of Xiaofan. Xiaofan was with Lu Ming. Could it be that Lu Ming was the reason why Xiaofan was able to return to the world? Many people could not help but think of this. Sila! At that moment, the space behind Xiaofan and Lu Ming cracked open. Two figures stepped out. As soon as the two of them appeared, their bodies emitted an aura that dominated the world. The aura of an emperor. It's the Wuxia Sword Emperor and the Thunder Saber Emperor. Someone recognized the two of them and exclaimed. The others were shocked. They didn't expect that two more emperors would be drawn out. Was an earth-shattering battle between emperors going to break out today? Xie Qitian, you're really good. You knew that Xiaofan had appeared, but you still wanted to use us to get rid of him and test his strength. The Wuxia Sword Emperor said in a cold voice. This time, the Heavenly Martial Sword School had suffered heavy losses. Not only were many spirit god powerhouses killed, but even a division was destroyed. Not only did a supreme martial artist die in battle, but the demon fetus was also lost. If the demon fetus was successfully cultivated, it would be an existence that could fight against emperors. How could the Wuxia Sword Emperor not be angry? I wasn't sure at first whether it was Xiaofan who was born. Xie Qiqian explained casually, but his eyes were still on Xiaofan. Xiaofan, I didn't expect that you would still be alive after being suppressed for 30,000 years. You're even able to come out into the world. This is really beyond my expectations. Haha, I have to thank you for sending Lu Ming to the Abyss Demon territory. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been able to escape. Speaking of which, you're the one who started it. I should be thanking you. Xiaofan laughed. Many people were shocked. It turned out that the reason why Xiaofan could return to the world was really because of Lu Ming. In other words, Lu Ming had saved Xiaofan. Those who knew the inside story sighed. If the royal family of the Xie family had not locked Xie Yanqing up in the Abyss demonic realm, Lu Ming would not have entered the Abyss demonic realm. If Lu Ming had not entered, how could he have saved Xiaofan? Everything was because of the imperial family. How ironic. Xiaofan was right. If not for the imperial family, how could Xiaofan have escaped? Humph, Xiaofan, so what if you've escaped? You've been suppressed for 30,000 years, and your vitality has been greatly damaged. Your demonic body has been injured, and your strength is far from fully recovered. Today, I'll kill you completely to prevent any future trouble. Said Xie Qiqian, his cold killing intent bloomed. The other two sovereigns' auras also spread out from Xie Qiqian's side, locking onto Xiaofan to prevent him from escaping. Wuxia Sword Emperor, Thunder Saber Emperor, why don't you join forces with me to get rid of Xiaoluan today? This emperor will definitely reward you greatly. Xie Qiqian looked at the Wuxia Sword Emperor and the Thunder Saber Emperor. Xie Qiqian, this is your Xie family's business. I won't get involved. The Wuxia Sword Emperor chuckled. I'm not interested either. The Thunderblade Emperor also shook his head. This made Xie Qiqian and the others' eyes flash with killing intent, and they were unhappy. They knew what the Wuxia Sword Emperor and the Thunder Saber Emperor were thinking. If the Imperial Xie family suffered some losses in the battle with Xiaofan, or even both sides suffered heavy losses, it would be a good thing for the other overlords. They could take the opportunity to weaken the Imperial Xie family, or even destroy them. Why would they help the Xie clan? Haha, Junior, I didn't come here today to fight with you. I'm here to give you a treasure. Xiaofan suddenly laughed. Give him treasures. His words not only confused the others in the sacred city, but even Xie Qiqian, Sword Emperor Wuxia, and the others were also confused. Xiaofan, what are you trying to do? Xie Qiqian said in a serious tone. In the ancient records of the Xie clan, Xiaofan was not only unparalleled in battle strength, but also in stratagems. He had to be on guard. You'll know when you see it. Xiaofan smiled. He extended his palm, and a golden light bloomed from it. It was a golden token. After it appeared, it expanded rapidly, turning into a giant token that was 100 meters tall and dozens of meters wide. On the token, there were 2 words Heavenly King. As soon as they saw the token, Xie Qiqian, the other 2 sovereigns of the royal family, the Wuxia Sword Emperor, and the Thunder Saber Emperor's eyes widened, and they were filled with greed. The Heavenly King's token. This is the Heavenly King's token. The Heavenly King's token is in your hands? The Wuxia Sword Emperor shouted. His eyes were burning with greed, and his eyes were red. Xie Qiqian and the other sovereigns were also staring at the Heavenly King's token in Xiaowan's hand. The Heavenly King token. It's the legendary Heavenly King token. Some of the older spirit god powerhouses could not help but exclaim in shock. This made the others look at each other in confusion. What kind of treasure was this Heavenly King token? It actually made the emperor jealous. This Heavenly King token is indeed very tempting to an emperor. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. On the way here, Xiaofan had already briefly explained to Lu Ming about the function of the Heavenly King's token. This world was called the Primordial Realm. It was vast and boundless. Although the divine wilderness continent was huge, It was just a grain of sand compared to the entire primordial realm. It was extremely tiny. In the sea, there were countless other continents like the Divine Wilderness continent. Some were even bigger than the Divine Wilderness continent. They were several times bigger, or even dozens of times, or even hundreds of times. However, the true core of the primordial realm, the true center, was a piece of land called the Yuan continent. Legend had it that the Yuan continent was the true core of the Yuan realm. That place was vast and boundless, and its surface area was many times larger than the Divine Wilderness continent. There were countless forces and experts there. Emperors were ordinary people there, and saints who surpassed emperors could be seen everywhere. There was a terrifyingly huge faction there. That faction was not something the so-called overlord factions of the Divine Wilderness continent could compare to. The difference was like the difference between heaven and earth. Any one of them could destroy all the factions in the Divine Wilderness continent. The cultivation environment there was also many times better than the Divine Wilderness continent. Chapter 1165 Fallen Emperor. The cultivation environment of the Divine Wilderness continent was too terrible for a martial emperor. Cultivating in the Divine Wilderness continent, martial emperors could not break through or improve. In the Yuan continent, martial emperors could break through continuously. However, it was also extremely dangerous in the Yuan continent. There were countless forbidden places and too many powerful existences. It was extremely dangerous for a martial emperor to walk in the Yuan continent. He could die at any time. Legend had it that in the history of the Divine Wilderness continent, there were also martial emperors who sought out the Yuan continent in order to break through. They wanted to cultivate there, but they all died. To cultivate in peace in the Yuan continent, one had to join a major power and seek protection. However, the conditions for recruiting disciples were too harsh. Ordinary emperors were not worthy of their attention. Only special conditions could allow them to join. The Heaven Seat King was one of the major powers in the Yuan continent. The Heavenly King token was a kind of token issued by the Heaven King Hall. As long as one held the Heavenly King token, even if one's talent was slightly weaker, one could still join the Heaven King Hall and cultivate there. According to Xiaofan, the Heavenly King's token had originally belonged to the Imperial Xia clan. The royal Xia family was able to prosper for a long time because they had the Heavenly King token. Every generation of emperors had joined the Heavenly King Hall, so they were able to dominate the Divine Wilderness continent for 1,000,000 years. However, the Heavenly King token was stolen by Xiaofan 30,000 years ago. With the token of the Heavenly King, one could join the Heavenly King Hall, a major power in the Yuan continent. To an emperor, what kind of temptation was this? When one reached the emperor realm, their goal was to continue breaking through, seek a stronger realm, and gain more longevity. Otherwise, they might not be able to break through in the Divine Wilderness continent for the rest of their lives. Who would be willing to watch as their time came to an end and die slowly? Although he could rule over a region of the Divine Wilderness continent, all of this was just an illusion. Once the time was up, he would be reduced to dust. For a martial artist, only their realm and strength were true. If they had a choice, most of the sovereigns would choose to go to the Yuan continent and join a big force to seek a stronger realm. Unfortunately, if he could not join a major power and headed to the Yuan continent, the probability of him dying was too high. Hence, the Divine Wilderness continent's emperors remained on the Divine Wilderness road. If not, they would have gone to the Yuan continent to cultivate. The Heavenly King token was an opportunity, and it was a fatal temptation for emperors. Previously, when Lu Ming heard all this, he was also shocked. The ocean was much more interesting and mysterious than he had imagined. If there was a chance, Lu Ming would definitely go overseas and visit Yuan Lu. Xiaofan, the Heavenly King's token originally belonged to the royal Xia family. Now, quickly give me the Heavenly King's token. Xia Qitian's heart could no longer calm down. He stared at the Heavenly King token fervently and shouted, "Xia Qitian, your Xia family has controlled the Heavenly King token for 1,000,000 years. Now, it's time for other forces to control it. Xiaofan, give me the Heavenly King token and I'll do my best to keep you safe." The Wuxia Sword Emperor also shouted, "Leave it to me, I'm willing to form an alliance with you." The Thunder Saber Emperor also shouted. They were too tempted and completely lost their sense of propriety. If they could obtain the Heavenly King token, they would immediately leave the Divine Wilderness continent and head overseas to search for the Yuan continent and join the Heaven Seek King to cultivate. As for their disciples, how could they compare their future to their own? No matter how strong the royal family and the Xie family were, they could just leave without a word. You want the Heavenly King token of my Xie family? You should be destroyed. Xie Qitian shouted, and together with the two emperors of the imperial family, they charged towards Xiaofan. A smile appeared at the corner of Xiaofan's mouth, and then he suddenly threw the Heavenly King token at Sword Emperor Wuxia. The Heavenly King's token. Here you go. Xiaofan shrieked. His demonic qi swept up Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, pulling them to the side. The Heavenly King's token is mine. The Wuxia Sword Emperor was ecstatic. She reached out her hand and grabbed the Heavenly King token. Don't even think about it, it's mine. On the side, the Thunder Saber Emperor revealed a greedy light. A bright saber light wrapped in thousands of thunderbolts slashed toward the Wuxia Sword Emperor. Thunder, you're looking for death. The Wuxia Sword Emperor was furious, and a vast sword light burst out, slashing toward the Thunder Saber Emperor. Boom! The sword radiance and the lightning and thunder saber radiance collided, and the sky was filled with sword chi and saber energy. The space was torn apart like a spider web, covering the entire sky. A few streaks of sword chi and saber chi seeped out and slashed the ground below. The ground was directly split open, and a few huge ravines that were more than 10,000 li long appeared. It was extremely terrifying. At this moment, the sacred city glowed, and a light shield rose up, blocking the force outside. Otherwise, the entire holy city would not be able to withstand a few rounds of turmoil. Hand over the Heavenly King's token. Xie Qitian and the two emperors from the royal family pounced on Sword Emperor Wuxia and launched their strongest attacks. Holy light filled the world. In the sky, it was as if several white suns had appeared. The entire holy city was covered in milky white holy light, so blinding that one could not open their eyes. Boom! 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 There seemed to be a magnitude 10 earthquake in the sky and the earth. The entire space was pierced through. Lu Ming looked into the distance and could only see a few figures fighting wildly. They fought high in the sky and then into the dark space. Whoosh! A sword light accidentally spilled out and stabbed into the ground. An unfathomably deep sword hole suddenly appeared in the ground. After a while, lava actually gushed out. The sword had pierced through the earth's crust. The battle between the emperors was a crazy slaughter. The scene was too shocking. In the holy city, countless people looked on in a daze, stunned by such a terrifying scene. If not for the holy city having an incomparably powerful array protecting it, they would not dare to stand here at all. Once they were affected by the aftershock, it would be a dead end. Everything that happened today was beyond everyone's expectations. The protagonists of today's events were not involvered, but Xie Qitian and the other emperors had an intense battle. Let's go. They don't have time to care about anything else. Let's go to the chaotic domain and find the backup I left behind. When I really recover my emperor cultivation, I won't have to be afraid of them anymore. Xiaofan said. Then, he brought Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing with him, tore open space, and disappeared from the place. 3 days later, a piece of news spread across the entire central continent and even the 4 territories. 3 days ago, Lu Ming had gone to the holy city and was the first to display his terrifying combat strength. Later, the rumored fallen divine warrior of chaotic heavens, Xiaofan, was reborn. He was rescued by Lu Ming from the abyss demon realm, which led to the royal family's pursuit. In the sacred city, Xiaofan took out the Heavenly King's token, which caused an intense fight between the emperors. That battle was so intense that the heavens and earth cracked, the sun and moon dimmed, and it was extremely tragic. In the end, the Wuxia Sword Emperor was killed by the royal family in that battle. The Thunder Saber Emperor fled with serious injuries, and the Heavenly King token fell into the hands of the royal Xie family. As soon as the news spread, many people were dumbfounded. When Xiaofan was born, the emperors fought each other, and one of them died because of this. It had been many years since an emperor had fallen in battle. But now there was one. All of this was because of one young man, Lu Ming. Moreover, this plane was very similar to the Abyss demon territory. Demonic chi was surging, and the heaven and earth were filled with demonic chi, but the heaven and earth spiritual chi and original chi were very thin. Xian Yanqing's figure appeared with a flash of light between his eyebrows. Xian Yanqing looked at the scene in front of him and was a little surprised. Back then, I was afraid that I would be suppressed or seriously injured if I failed, so I found this dimension and left some subordinates to guard this place and a place for me to recover. It's been 30,000 years. I wonder how it is now. Xiaofan explained. Who's there? You dare to barge into my Myriad demon's abyss? At this moment, a loud shout rang out. In the distance, dozens of figures flew over at top speed. Demonic chi suffused their bodies. They were actually all spirit embryo realm martial artists. In the blink of an eye, dozens of burly men in black armor appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest. All of them were staring at them with cold eyes. However, when their gazes fell on Xia Luan, their expressions changed drastically. Disbelief appeared on their faces, and they all cried out, "Ancestor Devil! It's the Ancestor Devil! How is that possible? The fiend ancestor is still alive?" One of them even waved his hand, causing a statue to appear. This statue looked exactly like Xiaofan, and it was filled with demonic chi, as well as a domineering aura that seemed to be able to dominate the world. It's really the fiend ancestor! They shouted in disbelief. Where's your commander? Call him over. Xiaofan ordered. The dozens of armored men looked at each other with disbelief in their eyes. The fiend ancestor they were talking about was Xiaofan. Obviously, they couldn't believe that Xiaofan was still alive after 30,000 years. Please wait a moment, we'll go and report it now. One of the men with the highest cultivation said, then turned around and left. The others quickly followed, turning into dozens of black demonic lights and disappearing. However, after waiting for a while, there was no movement at all. No one came. Let's go and take a look, Xiaofan said, frowning. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing nodded and the three of them flew forward. After flying over the mountains, an extremely huge city appeared in front of them. At this moment, the four sides of the giant city were filled with experts. Armored warriors guarded the giant city as if they were facing a great enemy. Among them, there were more than 10 whose auras were extremely terrifying. Supreme. These 10 people were all supreme-level powerhouses. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It seemed that the place that Xiaofan had left behind was not to be underestimated. There were actually so many powerful people. Of course, these experts were not those people from 30,000 years ago. They were definitely the descendants of those people. As soon as Lu Ming and the others arrived, all eyes in the giant city fell on Xiaofan, causing a commotion. The Devil Ancestor. He's exactly the same as the legendary Devil Ancestor. Could it really be the return of the Fiend Ancestor? Unbelievable! One voice after another was heard, and they were all shocked. The supreme martial artists were especially shocked. Their auras grew stronger, and they stared at Xiaofan. Where is your commander? Who is he? Tell him to come out and see me. Xiaofan's brows furrowed even more, and his cold and commanding voice rang out. No one answered, not even the supreme martial artists. Their eyes flickered, and no one knew what they were thinking. I am Xiaofan, the chaotic heaven's divine warrior. Why aren't you paying your respects? Xiaofan's loud shout caused many of the armored men to tremble. How audacious! You actually dare to impersonate the chaotic sky divine warrior. You deserve to be killed. At this moment, a loud shout came from the depths of the city. The sound shook the world and a demonic chi rushed up into the sky, suppressing the surroundings. An emperor. This was the pressure of an emperor. There was actually an emperor hidden here. A tall, burly and handsome figure stepped out of the demonic chi and appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. His eyes were fixed on Xiaofan, a little shocked, but more so, murderous. The 10,000 Devils Pool. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. There was actually a demon emperor lying in wait here. He had never heard of it in the outside world. A demon emperor and so many supreme beings were enough to establish a dominant force in the outside world and compete with the heroes of the world. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the younger generation of the demon abyss to be so good. There's actually an emperor. However, his talent is not bad, and his ambition is not small. Xiaofan laughed heartily. His words seemed to be hinting at something. It was obvious that Xiaofan was referring to the other party's great ambitions, and that they wanted to disown Xiaofan and dominate the world. Humph. The other party was wearing black battle armor and had monstrous demonic chi. He snorted coldly and said, I don't know who you are. However, he's so audacious that he's only a hair's breadth away from becoming an emperor, yet he still dares to impersonate the chaotic Sky Emperor. It's simply laughable. Indeed, Xiaowan's cultivation hadn't fully recovered to Emperor realm yet. He was still a sliver away, so his aura didn't seem to be there yet. This was also the reason why he was so bold. You guys, go up and test out just what kind of ability he has that he dares to impersonate the chaotic heaven's divine warrior. Jia demonic emperor looked at the 10-odd supreme martial artists. The dozen supreme martial artists' expressions changed drastically. For a moment, no one dared to step forward, and they were hesitant. They had all seen Xieluan's statues or portraits, all of which had been carved with inscriptions. Xieluan's divine presence and aura had been carved into them, making them almost identical to the person in front of them. How would they dare to make a move? What a bunch of trash! Jia demonic emperor shouted coldly when he saw that the supreme martial artists did not dare to come forward. Don't send them to their deaths. You're very ambitious, but you don't know your combat strength. Let me test your combat strength. Xiaowan strode forward, a terrifyingly powerful qi rising from his body. Endless demonic qi gathered above Xiaowan's head, like a demonic cloud. Humph, you're not even an emperor yet, and you want to fight me? You're looking for death. Devil domain. Jia demonic emperor shouted. A dark domain visible to the naked eye appeared around him. With him as the center, it spread out towards Xieluan. It was similar to Xian Yanqing's sky demon power field, but it was much more powerful. Buzz! A black domain also spread out from Xieluan's body. It was also a domain, and it spread outward with him as the center. The two's domains were like two air bubbles. When they met in the air, a deafening boom was produced. This was a confrontation between two domains. If an ordinary spirit god expert were to get close, they would be crushed into powder. Kill! Demonic Sky 10 strikes. Jia demonic emperor shouted and strode forward, launching a powerful attack. He clenched his fist and changed his palm from time to time, attacking Xiaowan with his demonic domain. Break! Xiaowan's attack was extremely direct. All the muscles in his body bulged like a demonic weapon as he threw a punch. With one punch, his opponent's domain trembled violently and was almost penetrated. Then, his fist collided with his opponent's palm. The sky exploded like thunder, and the two figures trembled and retreated. Undying Emo Physique, it's the Undying Emo Physique. It's really the fiend ancestor. A few supreme martial artists cried out in shock. In the divine wilderness continent, there were many who cultivated the demonic path. There were also more than one or two who had become emperors as demons. However, in the past million years, there was only one person who had cultivated the immortal demonic body, and that person was Xiaowan. The other demon sovereigns had broken through to the sovereign level and cultivated their spiritual bodies, but they were not as strong as the immortal demon body. There were also strong and weak spirit bodies. The immortal demon body was one of the stronger types of spirit bodies. Even if Xiaowan was still a hair away from recovering to the emperor realm, he could still fight an ordinary emperor with his immortal demonic body and his battle experience. Some people had some doubts before, but after the immortal demon body was revealed, no one had any more doubts. Chaotic art of the heavenly devil, create chaos in the world. However, Jia demonic emperor's killing intent was even more intense. He performed an unparalleled demonic technique. Endless demonic qi gathered and a terrible aura filled the world, as if it was going to turn the world upside down. However, Xiaowan's eyes were calm, and there was even a hint of a sneer in them. His body directly charged into the endless demonic qi. You're looking for death. Zhanjia demonic emperor's face turned ferocious. He was about to attack Xiaofan, but suddenly, his face changed. Endless demonic qi started to shake violently. His body also trembled violently. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Buzz! Xiaofan rushed out and struck Zhanjia demonic emperor with his sky-covering palm. Bang! The armor of battle armor demonic emperor was pierced through, and the sound of bones breaking was heard. But Xiaofan didn't stop. He threw another punch. This punch had broken half of his body. The chaotic heavenly devil technique was created by me. When I passed it on to the demon abyss, I left a flaw long ago. I was afraid that the demon abyss or its descendants would rebel one day. Xiaofan's voice was extremely cold. When Zhanjia demonic emperor had used the chaotic art of the heavenly demon, Xiaofan had caught his weakness and severely injured him. Xiaofan had already prepared a backup plan. Xiaofan grabbed Zhanjia demonic emperor's neck with his claws. He said with a cold killing intent, "Traitors should be killed. No, please spare me, ancestor devil. Please spare me. It's all a misunderstanding. I thought someone was impersonating you, so I wanted to test you." Zhanjia demonic emperor struggled with all his might and begged for mercy. Half of his body had been destroyed, but as an emperor, he had cultivated a spirit body and had a terrifying life force. Even if half of his body had been destroyed, he could quickly recover. To an emperor, regrowing a broken limb was a simple task. Oh, is that so? Xiaofan's eyes were still cold, and he had a faint smile on his face. Yes. If I had known that it was you, ancestor devil, who had descended, I wouldn't have dared to make a move even if you lent me 10,000 guts. Don't worry, ancestor devil. Since you have returned to this world, I will be loyal to you in the future. Zhanjia demon emperor shouted. Oh really? Originally, I would have killed a traitor, but now I need people, so I can spare your life. Make a blood oath and I'll give you a chance to atone for your crimes in the future. Xiaofan said. Zhanjia demonic emperor had no choice but to swear a blood oath to be loyal to Xiaofan in order to save his life. Only then did Xiaofan release Zhanjia demon emperor. Zhanjia demonic emperor gasped for breath and started to recover with demonic qi spreading all over his body. What's your name? Xiaofan asked Zhanjia devil emperor. Your subordinate Mo Yi pays his respects to the fiend ancestor. The battle-armored demon emperor said respectfully. Your subordinate welcomes the return of the fiend ancestor. The others also kowtowed. Yes, I've been trapped for 30,000 years and need the Myriad devil pool to recover. Take me to the Myriad devil pool. Xiaofan ordered. Mo Yi, a dozen supreme martial artists, and a few spiritual god experts hurriedly nodded. Lu Ming, little girl, come together. I have something to say. Xiaofan looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The two of them nodded and followed Xiaofan, Mo Yi, and the others. They flew over the city and arrived at the top of a huge mountain. This mountain was surrounded by inscription arrays and had been sealed off. This was the Myriad Fiend Pool, one of the trump cards Xiaoluan had left behind. Over 1 billion raw stones. Little girl, I've said that if you save me, I'll pass on my legacy to you. I won't go back on my word. With that, Xiaofan pointed his finger at Xian Yanqing's forehead. A black light flashed and he disappeared. I've already passed on my life's cultivation experience and the demonic arts I've cultivated to you. However, everyone's path is different. You can learn from it, but you can't copy it. Also, there's a demonic palace here. You can enter it and cultivate. It'll be very beneficial to your cultivation. Xiaofan said. Xian Yanqing closed his eyes and sensed for a moment. Then, he nodded and cupped his fists. Many thanks, senior. Haha, although we've been separated for more than 30,000 years, our fates are similar. No need to be polite. Xiaofan laughed. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This Xiaofan was a man of his word. To be honest, although Lu Ming had the idea of borrowing Xiaofan's power along the way, he had always been wary of Xiaofan. At this time, his wariness had slightly diminished. At this moment, Xiaofan looked at Lu Ming. Demonic qi gathered in his palm and condensed into a black token. He handed it to Lu Ming, then turned to Mo Yi and the others. Brother Lu Ming is my benefactor. From now on, seeing him is the same as seeing me. He can go anywhere in the Myriad Demon's abyss freely. Do you understand? Your subordinate understands. Mo Yi and the rest bowed and accepted the order. Also, now that the outside world is in chaos, send people to keep an eye on the outside world. When I come out of the Myriad Devil Pool, I will bring you out of the Myriad Devil Pool and dominate the Divine Wilderness mainland. Xiaofan loudly declared, brimming with confidence. The Devil Ancestor is invincible. We will obey the Devil Ancestor's orders. Mo Yi and the rest bowed once more. Xiaofan nodded, then turned to the center of the mountain and strode forward. The formation seemed to recognize him, and they didn't react at all. Soon he was gone. Mo Yi and the others were secretly shocked. The formation of the Myriad Devil Pool was extremely terrifying. Even an emperor like Mo Yi couldn't break through it. However, Xiaofan had entered it with ease. It was obvious that this was a backup plan left behind by Xiaofan. Young Master Lu, Lady Xia, the Devil Ancestor needs time to recover. You two can walk around freely. If you need anything, just look for me. Mo Yi looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and smiled. He could tell that Xiaofan regarded Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing very highly. He had even passed on his skills to Xian Yanqing in front of them. Naturally, he had to treat them with respect. The Demon Emperor is too polite. Please go ahead. If there's anything, I'll go and disturb you. Lu Ming smiled. All right then. You guys go ahead and walk around. We won't disturb you any further. Let's go, Mo Yi said. He then left the place with the others and arranged for people to go out and gather information. Little Qing, let's take a walk. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand and said. All right. Xian Yanqing nodded. The two of them held hands and walked in the air, casually strolling around. Now that Xiaofan had recovered more and more, the prison-suppressing steel's restraint on him was getting smaller and smaller. However, he was no longer affected by Lu Ming. The two of them walked around casually and chatted. During this period of time, they had been running around and did not get to know each other well. On a mountain peak, the two of them leaned against each other, ignoring the clear wind and Buddha's face. The two of them quietly enjoyed this peace and tranquility. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In these 3 days, the two of them did not cultivate and just spent time together quietly. 3 days later, Xian Yanqing went to the demonic palace to cultivate in seclusion. They knew very well that the divine wilderness continent was about to fall into chaos. In such an environment, the only way was to raise their own cultivation level. That was the foundation, the root of all. Otherwise, they would be drowned by the water sooner or later. Compared to those overlord forces, they were still too weak. As for Xiaofan, they knew very well that it was only an exchange of interests. Lu Ming's talent was higher than his in the past. Lu Ming, this is my condition. If you agree to it, we'll form an alliance and be on equal footing. My force is yours. I can help you deal with strong enemies. I'm sure you've offended many strong enemies along the way. Xiaofan stared at Lu Ming. All right, I promise you. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. Xiaofan had made it very clear. In fact, this was an exchange of interests. Sometimes, Lu Ming was more willing to believe in an exchange of interests. This was more real. Lu Ming did not believe that Xia Lai had agreed to form an alliance with him to thank him for saving his life. All right. Xiaofan was overjoyed. He waved his hand in the air, and a complex blood-colored inscription pattern appeared. I'll make a blood oath now to form an alliance with you, Lu Ming. Xiaofan was very decisive. He immediately took a blood oath to form an alliance with Lu Ming. After that, Lu Ming also discovered the blood oath. Haha, all of you come over. Xiaofan turned to Mo Yi and the others. Mo Yi and the rest flew over. As you can see, Lu Ming and I have formed an alliance and are on equal footing. I declare that from now on, Lu Ming and I will be the supreme commander. He will have the same authority as me. In the future when you see him, it will be the same as seeing me. Do you understand? Xiaofan ordered. Your subordinate understands. Although Mo Yi and the rest had 1,000 questions in their hearts, they could only nod. Was this young man's talent really higher than the fiend ancestors? Mo Yi and the rest found it hard to believe. Mo Yi, during this period of time, you've sent people to gather information about the outside world. How's the situation in the central continent now? Xiaofan asked. It's chaotic. The outside world is in chaos. Immediately, Mo Yi began to introduce the information he had gathered during this period of time. Ever since Xiaofan had taken out the Heavenly King token in the sacred city, a battle between the emperors had begun. The death of Wu Ju and Wu Huang shocked the world. After that, the emperors of the central continent's various overlord forces all moved out and gathered in the sacred city, wanting to fight for the Heavenly King token. In the end, the royal family was pressured to hand over the Heavenly King token. This resulted in an earth-shattering war between the emperors. That battle could be said to be the most intense and brutal battle since Xiaowan's rebellion 30,000 years ago. There were more than 20 sovereigns in the battle, and it was a terrifying battle. Many emperors were injured in that battle, and 2 of them even died on the spot. In the end, the Heavenly King's token fell into the hands of the heaven-suppressing divine army. After this battle, Central Continent was in complete chaos. First, the royal family, the Xie family, gathered their allies and sent out a great army to attack the heaven-suppressing divine army. Not to be outdone, the heaven-suppressing divine army also united with its allies and mobilized the army to fight against the royal family. The other overlord forces that did not participate in the fight between the 2 forces also began to attack each other. In the past, although there was constant friction between the major forces, it was still controlled on a small scale and a delicate balance was maintained. However, the battle for the Heavenly King token had completely broken the balance. The royal family and the Xie family were fighting against each other, and the remaining overlord forces also took the opportunity to expand their strength. Almost all the forces in the central continent were involvered. Lu Ming is in command. The army is out. The Ji family and the Sky Eagle Castle suffered the most. This was because in the battle for the Heavenly King's token, the 2 emperors who had fallen were the emperors of the Ji family and the Sky Eagle Castle. These 2 forces only had 1 emperor each. Now that their emperors had fallen, they naturally became popular in the eyes of the other forces. By now, these 2 overlord forces had already been destroyed. Out of the 18 overlord forces of the central continent, only 16 remained. How cruel was it for an overlord force to be destroyed just like that? How are the forces around the chaotic realm? Lu Ming asked. Mo Yi answered honestly. Cold Blood Hall and the Floating Mountain sect are the closest to the chaotic realm. After the death of the Eagle King, Cold Blood Hall was the first to react. They immediately sent an army to attack the Sky Eagle Castle and divided most of the territory. Some of the experts in the Sky Eagle Castle also surrendered to Cold Blood Hall, which greatly improved their strength. Now, Cold Blood Hall is fighting with the Floating Mountain sect. It seems that Cold Blood Hall has even attacked the headquarters of the Floating Mountain sect. Cold Blood Hall. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. Cold Blood Hall had always held a grudge against him. How are the other territories? Did they fight? Xiaofan asked. Northern Plains has gone to battle. When the various emperors were fighting for the Heavenly King token, Northern Plains emperors participated. But now, Northern Plains seems to be in an internal war. The various forces in Northern Plains are fighting each other. They did not interfere in Central Continent's matters. However, the Western Desert, the Southern Underworld, and the Eastern Barren Territory have not participated in the battle, and no emperor has tried to snatch the Heavenly King token. Mo Yi replied. Neither the Southern Nether nor the Eastern Barren Territory have participated in the battle. Lu Ming and Xiaofan were a little surprised. It was still acceptable that Western Desert did not fight. Because Western Desert's history was very long. There were rumors that Western Desert had a huge background and seemed to be related to the ocean. However, it was strange that neither the Southern Nether nor the Eastern Barren Territory had sent out any emperors. This was especially true for the emperors of the underworld of the southern underworld. They were all extremely powerful, sinister, bloodthirsty, and greedy. In the face of the heavenly king's token, he was actually indifferent. The emperor of the East continent didn't participate. This was very abnormal. "Senior, what should we do now?" After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming asked Xiaofan. "To Northern Plains, haha, I might as well tell you, I have a backup plan in Northern Plains. The Overlord Force of Northern Plains, Demon God Valley, is one of them. We will first go to Northern Plains and unify all the forces there. Then we will sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. We will make plans after seeing the situation in Central Continent." Xiaofan laughed. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The other party was indeed the chaotic heaven's divine warrior. He caused the ancient sacred dynasty, which was at its peak, to fall apart. He was truly unfathomable. Even if he was suppressed, he had left behind a series of backup plans. But to go to Northern Plains, we need to use the Overlord Force's inter-territory teleportation formation. Now that there is a war, who would want to use our inter-territory teleportation formation? We have to destroy one of the Overlord Forces to use their inter-territory teleportation formation. Lu Ming spoke. He could tell what the problem was. "Haha, that's right. So we have to destroy one of the two forces, Cold Blood Hall and the Floating Mountain." "Lu Ming, which one do you think we should destroy?" Xiaofan said. "Let's destroy Cold Blood Hall. I have a history with the Floating Mountain sect. Maybe we can form an alliance." Lu Ming said. "All right, let's destroy Cold Blood Hall. Mo Yi, assemble the army and set off immediately." Xiaofan ordered. Mo Yi and the rest went to gather the army while Lu Ming strolled in the air and arrived in front of a tall ancient hall. This ancient palace was the demonic palace, where Xian Yanqing was in seclusion. Not long after Lu Ming's arrival, Xian Yanqing appeared at the entrance of the ancient hall. "Xiaoqing, let's go. I'll take you back to the East Continent," he said. Lu Ming pulled Xian Yanqing's hand. Lu Ming had another purpose for this battle. If Cold Blood Hall was destroyed, Lu Ming could use the cross-territory teleportation formation to connect with the Talisman Amulet sect. In that case, the Talisman Amulet sect could use the cross-territory teleportation formation to teleport people directly to Cold Blood Hall. In that case, the Talisman Amulet sect would be able to solve their problems. Even if DE broke through the Yin and Yang formation, he would not be afraid. In addition, Lu Ming also wanted to see if he could use the power of Xia Luan and Mo Yi, the two demon emperors, to get rid of DE. If he could get rid of DE, he would be able to get rid of all future troubles. "Lu Ming, has Xiaofan recovered?" Xian Yanqing asked, his eyes filled with worry. Obviously, Xian Yanqing didn't trust Xiaofan either. Xiaofan was a demon emperor who had caused chaos in the world. If he fully recovered and got rid of the shackles of the prison-suppressing steel, who knew what he would do? Xian Yanqing was also a little worried. "Don't worry, Xiaofan and I have already formed an alliance." Lu Ming then told him about the alliance between Xiaofan and him. After hearing this, Xian Yanqing was relieved. Boom, boom, boom. The iron hooves stomped in the air. The void in the Myriad demon's abyss trembled, and demonic chi soared into the sky. An army of over 100,000 soldiers, clad in battle armor and riding on powerful magical beasts, leaped in the sky, causing the air to tremble. The army of 100,000 was made up of elites above the spiritual ocean tier. This was already equivalent to the army of an overlord force. The army of the overlord forces had the spirit ocean as the soldier, the spirit embryo as the stem, and the spirit god as the general. They could destroy the heavens and earth. 100,000 people, riding on magical beasts, gathered in the sky above the city. At the forefront, Lu Ming and Xiaofan stood side by side. A little behind them were Xian Yanqing, Mo Yi, and a dozen other supreme martial artists. "This battle is our first battle. After this battle, we will walk out of the Myriad demon's abyss and make a name for our slaviers in the vast divine wilderness mainland. Do you have the confidence?" Xiaofan's voice came from the distance. "There are." The army of 100,000 roared, their momentum shaking the heavens. Alright, our target is the Overlord Force, Cold Blood Hall. We've received news that the main force of Cold Blood Hall is currently besieging the floating mountain and fighting there. We'll split into 2 groups. One group will be led by Lu Ming to besiege and kill the Cold Blood Hall army that is attacking the floating mountain with Mo Yi as support. The other group will follow me to attack the headquarters of Cold Blood Hall. Let's go. After Xiaofan's announcement, the army set out. Let's go. Lu Ming led the main military force and set off first, heading straight for the floating mountain. Boom, boom, boom. A total of 80,000 soldiers rode demonic beasts and followed Lu Ming out of the Myriad demon's abyss, flying toward the floating mountain. Lu Ming was riding on a perfected spiritual god demonic beast and flying at the front. As he looked at the army behind him, his eyes were filled with anticipation. Lu Ming understood that this army did not belong to him. It belonged to Xiaofan. He was still weak now, but Lu Ming was confident that he would be able to dominate the divine wilderness continent soon. He would have his own invincible army and conquer the world. This day won't be too long. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with confidence. Once they were out of the chaotic domain, Mo Yi took out a huge warship. The 80,000 soldiers boarded the warship. Mo Yi controlled the warship and flew towards the floating mountain. Of course, they couldn't fly to the floating mountain, as it was too far. Many Sea of Soul Realm warriors would need to fly for a long time, but with Mo Yi's warship, it would be many times faster. This kind of warship was originally refined to be used in a great battle. Sometimes, when the teleportation formation could not operate, the warship was used to transport troops. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.